Welcome to Cranky Live, the show where bold minds meet real talk. This isn't your average sports or news show. It's where we break down sports, culture, and controversy with facts, fire, and fearless honesty. Here, truth cuts through the noise and hype gets exposed. From football to track and field, from world issues to local debates, we ask the tough questions, speak without fear, and go deeper than the headlines. We don't follow the crowd, we set the trend. While others recycle the same tired takes, we bring fresh insight, unfiltered analysis, and bold perspectives. No echo chambers, no puppet talk, just real conversation for people who think for themselves. Listen with your brain, not just your ears. Think critically, question boldly, and speak freely. This is Cranky Live, where reason rules the mic and truth always wins. Come on, let's get into it. Good night. How's everyone doing? Tuffy, Rudy, bless up. Above Earth, Michael, Gardner. Odell, how you doing? Oh, hey, Odell, how are things going? Let me know if things go, Odell. Hope everything's all right. And Vacation Phone Jamaica, how you doing? Bless up. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the show. Today's show, we're going to talk about my favorite topic nowadays, the JFF and the current situation. We were told quite a bit. By the way, I want to say this before I jump into the football. This has not been the best year for me. I mean, last week, Saturday, I had a good time. My reggae girls won, and it was a good thing, right? And I felt good. Somebody else won. I forgot who it was. My Knicks won. And then now today, my Arsenal got their Noah kicked by City last week Sunday. My Knicks are down 2-1. Things are not going well. And my reggae boys obviously are going to be watching the World Cup like I will be from home or someplace else, but they won't be at the tournament playing. So not a good thing. And as you come in, people, I would like you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, support the channel, and then share the channel. I'm going to take some comments, and then I'm going to jump into my little soliloquy as I normally do. Markland Barrett says, time for egomaniac Rudolph and crew to leave Jamaica FA. Now, I've been seeing a lot of information coming out lately from different sources. So there's some people calling for a change in JFF and how they operate and management and saying, hell no, we can't continue what we're doing. And then there are others who are fighting back on behalf of the JFF. Someone from the JFF sent me something the other day where someone was talking about certain YouTube bloggers, and my name was mentioned and a couple more people. And basically saying we're divisive, we don't know anything about football, we don't know anything about tactics and strategy and all that. And we weren't adding value, basically. And it was somebody who normally come on this channel and is contrarian. So he really doesn't matter. But I read it. I won't even mention the person's pseudonym or YouTube name. But I felt good because whether it's infinite, whether you're being famous or it's infamy, whatever it is, you're being talked about, which is a good thing. I don't mind people talking about me. Hopefully it's not all bad, but that wasn't good. But it doesn't really matter. I thought that was interesting. And then I heard Rudolph on a channel recently, and I may or may not play that interview, but he was on Gunna's, not Gunna's, it was an interview someplace. Gunna's played it today, or put it on his YouTube channel, where he was saying the people in Jamaica are fine with him, or with JFF. It's just some overseas bloggers, basically. And when I was watching the interview, because I watched most of it, I didn't watch all of it, the person interviewing was nervous and was scared to ask certain questions. Rudolph bad them up, Rudolph bad them up. He bad up KLAS, Arville, and You know, the end. I bad up the man them. So Rudolph go and put out interest and bad them up. And I've been telling Rudolph to come my channel. Because I don't mind get bad up. I don't mind get bad up people. But Rudolph refused to come. And also this, which is I heard somebody said they were listening to somebody's channel and somebody said, well, some people want to come Rudolph and interview Rudolph and carry on. People, I march to my own drum. I do. I march to my own drum. So if I want to interview somebody and you have a problem with it, that's your prerogative. I don't care what you think. I would love to interview Ricketts, Coley, Rudolph, even Simon. Hey, Simon, if I'm going to interview Simon, come talk to me. Me interview, you know. I interview anybody. Be a good conversation. And I'm very professional in my interviews. But it would be an interesting conversation. I do want to interview them because I hear them espousing certain things in the public domain. And I'm like, I would love to have the conversation. We're going to talk about some of them tonight. Yeah, well, he's above criticism in Jamaica. The only person in Jamaica who actually started criticizing him is Topical. I don't know what Topical is, right? Because Topical was one of them too, you know. All of a sudden, Topical gets some nerves and start criticize. Because Topical was one of them. Topical wasn't criticizing. Topical was kissing up. And then Topical must just get fed up at kissing up and start criticize and him get banned. Him a complain, say people don't come on him channel. If they don't want to come XYZ, no care, blah, blah, blah. So, even though I haven't listened to Topical in a week, I kind of put Topical on hold. And if I listen to him again, him kind of, I don't talk about why him do, but I put him on hold. If I listen to him again, I don't like people stay a certain way. Blessing Bonnie Ruggs, how you doing? Oh, you know, and good evening. There's Romain Burrow, maybe going to EPL, 3 teams interested in him. That's good news. Very good news. By the way, I'm gonna go over the interview that the president had with IRIE FM, because there's some things I want to clarify, talk about, extrapolate. I'll kind of not hit, but I'll kind of indicate. Very important to have those conversations, to think about, to go through those things again. It seems like the JFF is on a roadshow, people. Now, when you have a roadshow, when you're going out to the entire world and providing them with some information to suggest that you should retain your position, we should continue as is. You've been great at what you do. You've been the best president since sliced bread. Well, we'll go through them things there. We'll decipher the information, decipher the stats, decipher what's there. Is this really the case? Are these people as good as they say they are? So Sherman says, Cranky, you know, you two was talking can't change nothing, never. You know, that is the truth. And Cranky, okay. Hey, Sherman, Scott. Talking free now. So if nothing says we can't change nothing, that's fine. But people would be going around making so much rounds with so much talk show, it did not feel like that pressure. You stay there. All you have to do is influence certain board members, you know. And we'll talk about the board tonight. Hey, board members, we're having a conversation tonight. You're going to be front and center of the conversation. Which foreign bloggers? No, I think he's probably talking about multiple bloggers. He said some bloggers. It just probably wasn't me. Could be others. But no, I mean, there are people also in the chat who are from the JFF. So what the JFF does is the organization plan people in different chats under pseudonames, and they come with their contrarian views, and they come saying certain negative. They're trying to dial it down. The same people who say YouTubers have no effect, and they're probably right in some respects in terms of the significance of the impact. They're the same one trying to manage the message. And because we're not in Jamaica, they can't control it. Because most people in Jamaica are afraid, or for some reason don't want to go contrary to the JFF in anything. Right? No one want to go contrary to anything. You and Jamaica can't change it. Vote. No, we can't vote. There's only 50-something people can vote. There's only 50-something votes. And the process is rigged anyway. In my view, it's rigged. Because what FIFA approved wasn't okay. If you're in the US, for example, You know how much soccer federation in the US are part of the process to elect the person who will run the board and who run the USS, the president. You know how much soccer federations across the entire country? And we only have 50-something votes in Jamaica with 2.9 million people. And 13 plus 1, 13 parishes. People want to say 14, but Kasava are different. So yeah, it's a little bit different thing. But let's go through this, people. We'll play some tips, and then I'm going to give you some feedback on it. It's very important. When the president spoke to IRIE FM, they talk about a number of things. They talk about his tenure. They talk about the coaching. They talk about some finance. I cut out some elements of it. Talk about a number of different factors, which we're going to talk about. He talked about his record and how great he has been, and he won beating chess. He talked about the importance of Jamaica football globally and how we're recognized. We're going to go through all of that, because I think it's very important to go through all of that. What we'll also do is talk about the board, their role and responsibility, and why the board have to step up. They can't just be a board that's just there for good looks. So here is one of those individuals, one of those plans. This plan says, I don't think JFF is a collective noun, reggae boys. So it's not R. It's a collective noun. It's not a singular. Anyway, organize to plan people. Some people really do support our country's football, and JFF has done a good job overall. We're going to go to the JFF and see how great a job they have done. Because there is this view that the JFF has been wonderful. They've done all these things. You just talk about coaching this and under 17 and under 20. Let me say this. Michael Ricketts and many of these individuals, before Raymond go against them, have been in the organization since September 2017. And some people like Gaynor have been there much longer. So that's come this September will be 9 years. 9 years. Okay? 9 years. So when you start beating chest about what you have done, you had 9 years to do it. Right? It's like Brogan beating chest about what he have done. Brogan has been in power for about 12 years. You have 9 years to do enough. You're supposed to do something. You know, just sit down, play that thing and just watch. And if you have done so great in 9 years, how come you don't have better local players that you have produced? But we're going to go through that. We're going to go through that. All right? We're going to go through that. We are going to go through that, people. Because sometimes things are not as good as they look. So vacation, because Speed rigged the election in favor of Ricketts were awarded Speed loyalty by handing in. Well, I'm not going to say anybody rigging an election. I will say we heard about some beach football thing where people sign things them shouldn't sign and sign something and then deny them sign. We heard about that, right? We heard about some things not being done in the upper map. But I don't have all the information, so I can't talk about things that I don't know. But we heard those rumors or whether rumors are facts, I don't know. Why not talk about the great thing that JFF has done over the administration, very divisive? I'm going to talk about, because nationalists, you're one of those plans from the JFF, because I recognize you in your plans. I always talk about things from two sides. I told you I'm gonna go through the history. People, I don't come here and just run my mouth, you know. I spend time doing my research. Okay? I spend time doing my research. But I just come talk. I like talk. Do my research and I come back. It may not always be accurate. I do check different sources. And sometimes it's challenging getting information. Like, I'll give you an example of what challenging. I was trying to get the compensation of some of the key competitors in this region. Not Pochettino from US, or what's his name from Canada, but Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama. Couldn't find it. I got some data. I didn't want to publish it because I couldn't authenticate the accuracy of the information. Reggae boys, I'm going to put your last comment up. Let me do my show and keep your ass quiet. Let me do my show. I can talk about who I want to talk about. Don't tell me what to talk about. Why you people think you can come here and tell me what to talk about? Eh? No, can't tell me what to do. Because unlike some people in Jamaica, in the media in Jamaica, I'm beholden to Cranky. I'm not beholden to you. I am not looking for you don't give me an interview that I'm going to be cowering and say I don't talk. I'm going to say what I want to say. So you nationalists, Reggae Boys Reactor, what's the name of that coach? What his name is? I can't remember his name. When I can't talk, I don't want to talk. When I can't stop the show. Can't stop the show. If I have one person that listen to me, show got to go on. Show got to go on. We will not, let me say this again. We not support failure. And why is it? Why is it, people? Why is it? That it seems to be only bloggers who are pushing this thing are the ones who live overseas. Why is it? Can somebody explain this to me? Why is it that only the bloggers, are they the only ones who understand what accountability mean? What responsibility mean? What leadership entail? Are they the only ones? Why you don't see no Jamaican blogger? Because Jamaican blogger may call not. Now, some of the bloggers in Jamaica, I do respect them. I do engage them. But now I call no name per se. I make general comment people. But why is it that, and don't talk about traditional media. Don't talk about traditional media. Please don't talk about traditional media. Lord have mercy, traditional media. Hey, man, I interview Speed. First of all, you Speed, but up a man, but up Arville. Then so we go do him research. See, Speed, hey, Rudolph, come in the chat, Rudolph. And Rudolph, if you come too hard, Rudolph, I'll call you out. If you come too hard, I'll call you out tonight. Because me and them want to move tonight, Rudolph, I'll call you out. But me say this. Me not understand something. Because Rudolph tell me one time, say, look at two people now up on the channel, no mean nothing. So him tell me one time, no two people can't influence nothing. All of a sudden, them I get concerned. No get concerned. They say we can't do nothing. When I say there's a voting process, the electoral process, you have to go through that process. And the JFF is a quasi-private organization. So therefore, what we say don't mean nothing. So why not concerned about it? So Topical get some, I'm not going to say the word, but Topical get some. Hey, Topical, I don't say I don't Topical, because I used to kiss up to, Topical get some, ratted. Good thing Topical. Topical get some. By the way, people, if you like the show, this is not for nationalists or Reggae Boys Reactor, but those are other people in the chat who like the show, you can hit the like button. Yeah, man, nationalists come. We know nationalists, man. We know nationalists. No, nationalists. We're talking about that nationalists. We're talking, hey, nationalists. Nationalists, you really want to go there? You throw me off my game, but I'll stay on track. You really want to go to nationalists about the girls, them? You don't really want to talk about the girls, them? In nationalists? The JFF, you don't want to talk about the girls, them? No people say, man, this just come. Remember JFF with the 2023 World Cup, Cranky was here, A Cranky when they back on against the girl, them, in some respects. Come say the girl, them do something they shouldn't do. A Cranky, see him Cranky, you and Reggae Boys right to beat. Cranky used to get beaten by the girls, them, beaten 24/7. Come say the girls, them make some mistake and do something they shouldn't do. And they weren't telling truth in some things. And me get beaten with the girls, them. I don't know why I come talk to Cranky about girls. Right, dude. We have the conversation tonight. But anyway, let me do this. Let's go back on track. We have to be linear in our thinking and linear about how we operate. Yeah. Sometimes people get some testicular, as Stefan says, and stand up. Yeah, they are. But so here's the conversation of people. I'm going to go back to the president's interview. Because what I realize is that Rudolph and the president seem to have sat down and worked out their strategy about how to engage the public in terms of what message they want to send to convince the public that they're stupid, they ain't got no sense, they're missing the boat, that they have been the best organization in the history of football, that they're respected in CONCACAF and in Global, that they have members in all these committees in FIFA and in CONCACAF, and therefore we should accept anything that they do because they are the epitome, I should say, we're going to say epitome, can say that if you want to, potato. They're the epitome of excellence. And if we didn't make a little World Cup, I'm not going on, but I'm talk about World Cup thing. But anyway, let's pivot, let's come around, and we're going to have a conversation. Now listen up, people. Sit back, relax, and Cranky is going to decipher these things. Hey, nationalist and Reggae Boy Reactor. Sit down and pull up a chair. We're going for a ride. Pull up a chair.
Would the federation take for the outcome of not qualifying for the Olympics?
So this is the interview that was done on IRIE FM, which I went over already, but it needs to be revisited, people. So here's the question. So the question is being posed to them about who is responsible? How much responsibility JFF take? Or no, let me rephrase that. How responsible? I mean, I talk patois, so I have to use English because other people watch the channel when I talk patois. How responsible is the JFF for Jamaica's failure to qualify for the World Cup? Right. So this is the question. As you know, so I have pictures. I like this now. So I have my good man, the brilliant, the Brawley person, McLaren with Rudolph. Hey Rudolph, you know, see me I put in one night. Hey Rudolph, when you say about me, I make it look good, no? Me put the best picture me can find of you on YouTube, on TV. So you always look good. You always look young. Younger than your age, much younger. I always look like an executive. So me have to put them coaching thing. Only once in a while me do it. If I coach me, I talk about. But anyway, too much talking. So this is the interview asking the question of the president, Michael Ricketts.
For the World Cup.
Well, remember, the buck stops with the president. Even if the president really might not have had any control of what happened on the field. And I am accepting liability for not qualifying. And it's painful, I can tell you. I mean, I suspect why it is so painful is that we really, based on how the draw was, we really thought that we would have qualified. And not qualified. Of course, we are very disappointed. It's very painful. But we would have done everything in our powers. I mean, the breaks just didn't go our way. And if you look back at the game in Trinidad, I mean, we conceded late, I think in the 86th or 87th minute. The goal that was scored against us was eventually, I mean, when people looked at the video, they thought that it ought not to have been a goal. We scored a goal that a FIFA referee who reviewed it said to me that we were unfortunate, that ought to have been a legitimate goal. I mean, the game at the National Stadium, I mean, when they hit the upright 3 times and can't get one in, when the on-the-field referee give you a penalty and it was overturned, then the breaks just didn't go our way. And, I mean, it is, like I've said, it's very painful. We would have done everything in our wisdom that we think ought to have taken us to the World Cup. But as fate would have it, it didn't happen. So we just have to reorganize and come again.
A lot of confidence.
So let's address that, people. The president gave a bunch of excuses as to why we didn't get to the World Cup. We didn't score against Trinidad. We get penalty we didn't get. We missed up chances. All those are true, you know. I have to stop under this, people. New Wave, thanks a lot for the... Truly appreciate the super chat. He said, buy some water and keep talking. Okay, thank you. Hey, pre-buy the water. I'm drink it. Appreciate the support, New Wave, as usual. New Wave Entertainment always support the program, people, with money, not in mouth. So, thank you. Some people that want to support it with like or with subscription. But anyway, thank you, New Wave. Appreciate it. But let me keep running this. So, let me go back to this. The president have all this excuse. But here's one thing that he said, which I find disturbing. He said we would have all done everything that we could have done, almost like in our power, to qualify. That's nonsense. So it's one of 2 things. Either you're incompetent or something else. And why do I say that? First of all, if you think holistically about the process to qualify for the World Cup and what should be done, the recruiting was poor. The naturalization process part of recruiting was awful. The coach selection process was awful. And if you have poor recruiting, poor selection process, both selection in terms of recruiting the right players to come play, and then the coach you select picking the ranked team. When a coach select 2 or 3 midfielders to go play a Gold Cup and you allow that coach to continue, when we feel miserable the Gold Cup, barely draw 1 game, should I lose it? Should I lose our 3 games? And you had a chance to fire him, and you know, fire him. You didn't do what they could have done. Let me give you an example, people. Tottenham Forest is on to their what? Are them to them 4th coach now? They had Frank, they had De Zerbi, they had who them fired the other day before De Zerbi. Name escapes me. But anyway, they're on to them 3 or 4 coach now. for the year, right? The youth from Italy, what them bring in. Nottingham Forest, 4 coaches, right? Them had the man from West Ham. No, his name has slipped me now. I've seen a moment tonight. They had Daesh, they had Postecoglou, they know onto another coach. 4 coaches them have, because they might try if not get relegated. So they're doing everything in their power to prevent relegation, right? What did JFF do? And by the way, the JFF has said, which you'll hear in this thing, that the coach, Rudolph Speed say the other day when get interview again, kind of every channel at Jamaica, except the one that might challenge him. Rudolph Speed said the man, Rudolph Speed and the president said he violated the contract because he was supposed to stay in Jamaica and he went home. And in fact, they were saying McLaren, whenever he go play anywhere, him fly from there, go straight to yard. You don't want to stay in Jamaica, you don't want to know Jamaica. Now, for them, I don't like the country, one of them. So you haven't done everything in your power, as you're saying, and here's what I'm doing, people. I'm building a case for why the board should make a change. So let me take a step back. What I'm doing is I'm going through all of this and I'm building a case as to why the board has to take action. It's not okay, board, JFF board. It's not okay. Let me do something, people. Put out the board member them. See the board member there? Ricky's on the board, Speed is on the board. You have Gregory Daly, who's kind of new in terms of him role as Gensec. You have Elaine Walker Brown, who's been there forever. You have Byron Watson. You have, you know what? Me have somebody there twice. Me have to take him off. Me have something right twice. Watson twice. Me mess up Sheridan. Someone mess up Sheridan. Anyway, Sheridan upon it. We have Daly. We have some people, something, you know what? Me then use something, it mess up the name them. Might take it off. Never bring back another one. Never another one pan chart someplace. Somehow the thing get messed up. You pull it up. Pull up the board. By the way, the board has not been updated. I think them still have something up on the board. Them still have name Chong on the board actually. And Chong is no longer on the board. Chong is not on the board. So I'll pull up the board. The board I have up there. Somehow it get messed up. I was trying to make it presentable. And now my computer is stuck. But anyway, we'll go back over it. But the board is still there.
It would have been lost.
So we'll go to it. But the point I'm trying to make is this. That I'm going to build a case as to why the board has to do something. All right? Some people have nationalists coming. Hey, nationalist. I'll call you out to the nationalist. Nationalist. I'll call you out to now. Yeah, beg me to call you out. But anyway. Him say, give me one to leave. What do you want JF to do to hide his passport? First of all, we were told, you know what, people, about 4 things we get told about Grimmy now. People, may go back online, but may address the comments them, because they need to be addressed. We were told about 4 things as to why Grimmy want to leave. Dennis Strong said no one why Grimmy want to leave. Rudolph said no why Grimmy want to leave. Then Rudolph said that Grimmy want to leave. Him said something about why Grimmy leave the other day. Some bonus thing from Copa and getting money. Then Rudolph said the other day, Grimmy want to leave because him lose the game to Canada, Jamaica. When the man pressed it, him double down on it. Then the president said, Grimmy talked to him, which you're hearing the thing, and said, I think around Copa time, Grimmy discussed and said, boy, him want to go back home, right? So the president perspective differ from Chung, from Rudolph, and Rudolph's story changed about 3 times. We don't know why Grimmy leave. And then we hear say in the story from Athletic that Grimmy talked to McLaren and said, "Nanga last too long." God, the support not right. And then me hear from other source that Grimmy leave because of interference. Don't know who to believe. Everybody have a different story. But Grimmy gone. Grimmy gone in Ireland. And don't make the World Cup either. So Grimmy watch from the sideline and we watch from the sideline. Point of the matter is this, is that Grimmy left and Grimmy added value. We brought in McLaren and Rudolph talked about how the process was for recruiting, which we're going to get into tonight, people, because it's very important. The JFF did things, we call in Jamaica, we call in my own term, half-assed things. They don't do nothing comprehensive. Nothing is well thought out. Nothing is well executed. It's just not. And they believe they're the epitome of excellence, and they're not. And it's very obvious. If you just take something, when I was having a conversation with them about the sponsorship deal, and do they have escalation clauses, they never have none of them contract for most of the contract they have. You have a World Cup, supposed to get a World Cup, you have right out contractor clause from sponsor. You know, no escalation class. If you go World Cup, the prominent 5 billion people watch it. None of them in contract. And them fee said them run things, and then we are YouTuber, we are idiot. We don't have no sense. We just like to talk. We don't have no influence. We don't have no sense. We don't have no stature. We don't have nothing. And them know everything. And you look at some basic things that them overlook, and you just said to yourself, say, this doesn't make no sense. So when the president talked about why we didn't make the World Cup and who should be responsible, and he owns everything, finally he's right. But if it's your fault, since you're the overseer for everything, you own it, everything, how come nobody's feeling any pain? How come nobody now lose them job? Let me ask you, Rudolph, let me ask you this question, Rudolph. When you were at the Gleaner Company, right? And you were the CFO of the Gleaner Company, if you gave somebody a job to do, you know what? Try to engage, get a client. The client is 80% of your revenue. And that person lose that client. Rudolph, I don't see you fire them. There's no way in God's earth, especially if them lose a client because of them fault, and at 90% of your revenue, or 80% of your revenue, you're fired them, Rudolph. There's no way in God's hell you'll keep them. And I know that, Rudolph, if you were objective, because you're not objective enough, because you're part of the process, you would agree about where the YouTubers are coming from in terms of somebody must pay for this failure. It is not, and I have nothing against Rudolph people. I have nothing against, I always say this about the president. I have nothing against the president. Nothing nicest human being ever meet. But if you're failed so miserably, and you make my summer miserable, then you're someone to get miserable too. You can't keep the job, man. You can't keep the job. You make the whole people, the whole fan base miserable. Whole fan base. Let's keep going. You make the whole fan base miserable. If you keep your job. No, sir. Nah, man. And when I go around like as if, oh, you know what? You guys need to get over yourself. Look all the great things that we have done. One little blip in terms of the work. No, I'm not blip. People, I must show I'm giving some facts tonight. And I know blip thing. This is major. This is the worst thing of Jamaica football in the last 30 years. Maybe ever. Where FIFA say, you know what, Jamaica, we're still going to go World Cup. But we have to go through a process and we have to qualify. But we'll set it up. Even when we play Guatemala and beat Guatemala, what we want to do, we'll make sure say there's no way in God's name we can't get World Cup. But no matter small amount we have to do, you know, getting yourself right to do it, and you know what we do? Now, of course, but we exit up people. It was easier to make the World Cup than not to make the World Cup. Much, much easier. You had to be a total, you know what, not to make the World Cup. Seriously. And even when we had evidence over and over and over and over, evidence telling us that changes need to be made during the process. So why did Rudolph become the technical advisor? Who don't think about that? Because they had no confidence in the coach. So why not fire the coach? You see, Nottingham Forest have no technical advisor. You see, Tottenham have no technical advisor. Then fire the coach them. You see, Chelsea have technical advisor. When it's not working, the coach has to go. Even if the players them run, the coach has to go. And in our case, we know the coach wasn't good enough. But let's keep going. So I'm telling you people, the JFF won this. We don't want no excuse, but we're not doing a pass. And you know what? We'll go to an accomplishment don't talk about.
In terms of Jamaica's belief in our football, how are you going to ensure that this confidence is rebuilt and we start another campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, we are highly rated around CONCACAF in every aspect of football. And it cannot be by a mistake that 3 persons from Jamaica were appointed to standing committees at the highest level at FIFA. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I ran for the first time as vice president of the CFU, of course, I won. The second time, I think there were 5 positions up. And I went in unopposed. And it's not because of who Michael Ricketts is, but it's because of what Jamaica's football is on the global stage. Like I said, we're very disappointed, but the show has to go on. We just need to reorganize, rebuild. Re-look at our development programs and start the process from early.
Yeah,
But
can I just interject and as you along that line, Mr. President, because it might slip me.
So let's talk about that, people. So the president said Jamaica football is respected across the globe. Why? Because of how well we perform, how good we are. Where we ranked in CONCACAF? We are 70th in the world, and we are now below Honduras in CONCACAF, which is hard to imagine, because we thought we'd be right behind in Mexico, Canada, and the US. Giving you resources. The president says who is the president for CFU? Isn't that somebody from St. Lucia? We about 100,000 people. The president big up chef saying him run unopposed. Can't nobody in the Caribbean run for nothing. The Caribbean is lost. When it comes to football, them lost. And even them last, Haiti still make the World Cup. Haiti not even have a country, a civil war, they make the World Cup. Haiti make the World Cup, people, and we don't make the World Cup. Haiti team probably never go upon Haiti. Them play away. The coach probably never been to Haiti. Haiti made the World Cup. Haiti made the World Cup, people. And what Jamaica there? I watch. And the people tell us we should just go on. We can't. No. He said that the things are done and we just gotta keep going. But Mr. President, you're suggesting we go on with you. Why do you suggest that we go on without you? Italy is going on without their president. Nigeria people are not protesting their FA. A number of countries have decided to go along without the FA. And let me say something about that too. I'm bringing this up more than one tonight. When I hear Rudolph and the president come out here and talk about there's 211 countries and only 48 going to the World Cup, 48. That is such a disingenuous comment. Did St. Lucia expect to go to the World Cup? Did Grenada expect to go? Did BVI expect to go? Did Malta expect to go? Did Luxembourg expect to go? Did Zimbabwe expect to go? Did India expect to go? What not talk about? What not talk about? What not talk about? Me not understand. We now compare apples and oranges. And first of all, it's not a blanket slate to say, you know what? It's one out of, we're ranked 70, so we should be number 70th in terms of World Cup qualification. And by the way, if you're going to use that concept and the idea, Curacao is ranked way worse than us in the World Cup. In a few zone. The World Cup is bifurcated into zones, and we had a soup zone. We ranked higher than all the teams that were in our zone by a good margin. And because of the people who are run the football, we not go. With our coach, our administration, and the main party. Players are culpable, but players don't select themselves. We had enough quality. I don't understand people. I don't understand. And the president talk about, you know what? Oh, come on, get over yourself. We did make the World Cup, but we have done all these great things. Just one little thing happened. No, we're going to go through that, people. It's not one little thing. It's a big, big thing. It's a fireable thing. That's why the whole of Italy thing, them gone. From 2006, Italy made the World Cup. Them gone, the president gone, the this gone, the that gone, everybody gone. Coach gone, president gone, administration gone in Italy. They have to go restart. And Jamaica say, nobody should get punished. Board of Directors of Jamaica. Sheridan Samuels. Allow. You know what? I'll pull it up. Let me find the board. I see the board, yeah. Even though one of the board members, them gone. Board members. We not have to do no job. Not have to do no job, board members. So this is our board. Right? Dennis Strong is no longer there. By the way, JFF, update to the website, man. This is about slackness. A long time Chung left. He's not on the board anymore. Raymond Grant, he didn't walk Brown. I hope all of them still accurate, you know. Sheridan, my youth, one of the best athletes ever come out of Jamaica. I don't know if you don't know him. Sheridan Samuels was losing me. I'm the first to losing me. Bennett, I don't talk about Rudolph, because people say Rudolph still like himself. Bruce Gaynor, Errol Stephen, the young man, and Errol, come Errol, man. I was watching channel Errol when you talk about investing, a very smart youth. I'm glad to see some youngsters on the board, because I see people out there that feel like 40 years. Come Errol, man, do something. I'm going to do something, Errol. I can't just sit down and watch the nonsense I go on. Changes have to be made. This is the board people. As I said, Chung is no longer there. Changes have to be made. It cannot be business as usual. I'm sorry, we're not buying that. Changes have to be made. That's all I'm going to say. Changes have to be made. The board, you have the responsibility. The board, you have the authority. The board, you have the autonomy to make change. Make the change. Make the change, board. Come on, make the change. We keep going.
Up until this present moment, every 4 years, we look back and we complain about the same things. One of the things that, you know, we want to know if there will be some seriousness in terms of looking at a 10-year development plan. We realize that we might not be able to escape from getting the Jamaican connected players in England to represent the team. But from a development point of view, you know, will we seriously just lock shop and say we're looking at a 10-year plan or something like that, or we're just going to continue doing the same thing every 4 years and then we'll come back and we'll complain?
If we look at our present youth structure, we are supported by a program that we are in partnership with FIFA. And 3 years ago, we won the championship for the challenge series for
Under 14
for the Caribbean. Then the following year, we won under 15 at CONCACAF. And most recently, we qualified for the under 17 World Cup.
Right.
We have a program, a TDS program, a talent development scheme, which is being supported, of course, by FIFA. And there were just a handful of countries that were selected based on your proposal that you'd have presented and sent to FIFA. And of course, Jamaica was one of the countries selected. So we now have this talent development scheme, which is trying to harness talent all across the country and get them into an organized setting at the Captain World Center, and then take it from there. And already it is showing some success, because we won the U14, and I tell you, we didn't just win, but we were convincing in doing so. At halftime, our opponents were leading us by a goal to nil, and it was all excitement. And within 35 minutes of the second half, we scored 7 times, won the championship by 7 goals to 1. The U15s, like they say, we step up in class, we went to CONCACAF, and I think we did very well. Then the U17s qualify. As it is now, I think we have a very impressive set of under 20s who are into the last stage of their World Cup qualifying campaign. I think they go to, is it Costa Rica, for the final round of the U20s qualification. So things are a little bit different now, to be honest. We have a proper development program. We have this TDS program where we go around to primary schools, in high schools, and look at these players. Just over the weekend, they were in Western Jamaica. So all the young players from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, and Trelawney were at, I think it was Jared Park, where the TDS scouts were with them and looking at them. So it is a little bit different now, to be honest, than it would have been.
But sooner than later, we should see all of these transition into the senior team, and what we should see something positive on the field and in terms of results and, you know, that identity from a Jamaica point of view.
That's the whole idea, for them to make the transition. And as it is now, the U14s would have made the transition to U15, the U15s to 17s, and 17s to 20. And it is showing on the field of play a lot of success and execution at a premium because of a strong youth program.
Hold it there again, Mr. President.
All right, so let's touch on a few things, people. First of all, what I try to do up there actually is give you an idea of what I believe as the president spoke, what a strategic plan looked like. So the president talked about a couple of things, strategic plan. He talked about player development. They've always talked about coaching development and what they're doing in coaching, how great they are in CONCACAF. And I learned from Trinidad, who not going away. But that's their thing. I put some of the things on here that they should be thinking about and what the objective are. Now, you hear him talk, the question was asked, which is, when are we going to see the fruits of our labor in terms of the people matriculating from the junior team to the senior team if we're doing so well? Now, the president has been in the role since 2017. So he's had about almost 9 years, and we still haven't qualified for the World Cup. And all the blame is being put on the diaspora players, which we're going to get to at some point in this program. What we haven't talked about is executive leadership. And do we have the right executive leadership? Are they well trained? Are they well knowledgeable enough? Do they make the right decisions? Do they have the right level of intellectual capacity to make the decision that inform decisions to allow us to be successful? They haven't shown that. They haven't shown that. By the way, Damien, thanks a lot for your super chat, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Hopefully you've hit the like button. But you hit the like button by giving the super chat. So thank you. Appreciate it. But what I see me have up here is what I deem to be something that should be thought about as it relates to strategic long-term plan, right? And I remember sending the Spain plan to somebody in JFF. And then tell me them throw it away. And when they tell me them throw it away, I laugh. And I basically said, see, that's what I talk about. All the money say I'm genius and I don't know nothing. Them feel say them are genius. And feel say, yeah, idiot, can you try to help? So me share a form. And then say them throw the plan, them probably throw it in the garbage. I'm going to laugh and say, yeah, your plan will work because you want to know a watch worker from the sideline. So whatever plan Spain have, it doesn't work. Whatever plan anybody else have, your plan is the greatest. We ain't seen none from it. Let me just say something under 17, under 20. The president is extolling the virtues and the greatness of what they have done more recently, right? 1 second, people, I'll reply to this. They're doing this and showing how great it is. We'll go through all that so-called success that we have. Some of it is success, you got to say that. The under 17 did make the World Cup. The under 20 is in the final round. What else? In top of the under 15 and under 14, I've said this from day one. Do not come to me and talk about your success in the Caribbean. I don't want to hear it. Because the Caribbean gone to dogs when it comes to football, even though it is to make the World Cup. When you talk about CONCACAF, not the Caribbean. And when you come and say the under 15 did well in CONCACAF and they won, they were in tier 2 in CONCACAF. They weren't in tier 1. That means then they play the US, then they play Canada, then they play Mexico. They were playing in tier 2. Let's be clear on that, Mr. President, because what you're giving out may be information which may be misleading. Not saying you intend to mislead, but it may be misleading. Yes, you went to CONCACAF, but you're in tier 2. So like you're in the B division, not the A division, for the under 15. Then a 17 make the World Cup. This is 2026 people. FIFA has watered down all their global competition. Whether it's the World Cup for under 17, under 20, the women's, the men. The women were what, 1 point? FIFA, World Cup used to be like about 16 teams, you know? No, they're 48. The last time the women were what, 30 something? But before that was like 16 or 20 something. The numbers keep going up. So you have more opportunity to make the World Cup. Okay? And if you're a woman, and we go to the woman team, can't beat the man team, but diaspora, look for the woman team and diaspora. We'll get to that. Because I don't know talk about diaspora, this and diaspora, that. It's not the diaspora fault. Bless up, Forbes. I appreciate the support, sir. Thanks for being on the channel and supporting the channel. And by the way, people, you can become a member of the channel now. Don't be shy about the membership. It's only $3 a month. I'll kill you. Coming up, I still on big membership. If you look at this long-term strategic plan I have up here, you have some objective. What success look like? A board of directors, JFF. You have to figure out, have we truly being successful or just words and talk? If you want to be successful, people, consistent World Cup qualification that the women do. And at 17, last year should I make it? Them lose to El Salvador, they should make the World Cup last year. They make it this year. But it didn't water down. You want to beat one team this year in Canada, in a whole of CONCACAF, because the other team, they're not good. You got to be competitive at the highest level. We were not competitive for the regular boys this year. And by the way, men's football, senior team football is the football. Everything is just a subset. It's all about men's football. World Cup, Euro Gold Cup, it's about the men's. Unfortunately, that's life. Women are getting much more prominence, much more upliftment. Far from it, far from being there. You want the president will talk about this, financial sustainability. You want to be globally respected. So we're globally respected, we're not sure about that. And you want to have a positive impact on the communities, which we're not sure about that either. But you need to make sure the grassroots, and the president will talk about this and we'll go over it. This is what I call a strategic plan. The president cannot hit and miss when he talk about strategic plan, because when people talk about strategic plan, all they think about is how the senior team will perform. That's what the question was in this case, When are we going to do something to make sure senior team will perform? It's a more holistic approach for strategic plan. You can't want the end product to be great unless you invest in the youths, in the kids, in the infrastructure, in grassroots, to then have them matriculated up to the senior team. And by the way, Rudolph said this. Rudolph said that only about 30%, I haven't checked the numbers, but he said about 30% of those in the junior team that matriculate to the senior team. So like the under 17 team, for example, the under 20 team. And by the way, we're both the under 20 team. Let me say this to you, Mr. President. Unless you get supplement, unless you get some addition to the under 20 team, they're not going to win. That may sound harsh on my part. I watch them play. Them can't keep the ball. And for all those coaches in Jamaica, talking about how great you are in the coaching program, let me say this to Rudolph. To Rudolph Austin, Rudolph Speed, Andrew Peart, Michael Ricketts. Until we can coach midfielders to play at a certain level, we're not going to win a football. Until we can stop play kick and run football, have a football identity, a philosophy, a style of play, and teach our kids to be technical and teach our kids to be able to play in the middle of the park in tight spaces to make 15 decisions in 2 or 3 seconds, we're not going to win a football. So do you have coaches who can do that? Because it's a good thing to go to class and say, my practical, my theory can give me an outcome, but can you go and execute on the field and it materialize into something? Haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it. We keep going.
We'll run into another break and come back. Let's go to the break and then we'll come back with the president of the Jamaica Football Federation. Mr. President, the topic of coaching has been a big talking point, especially in the latter part of this World Cup campaign. The word out there now is that Rudolph Speed is going to be asked to continue as head coach. Where is the Football Federation on that matter? And a second part of the question, is there any divisiveness within the directorship of the Jamaica Football Federation with regards to this topic?
The truth is that, to be the coach, it's a process. So you have to apply, so Speed has to apply like anybody else, and I know for sure that there might be 3 or 4 coaches who would have applied. The technical committee is the group that handles the employment and the recommendation of these coaches. Just today, we got a document from the technical committee recommending that in the essence of proper time management, that we ask the present coaching staff to continue until the Unity Cup. The Unity Cup is actually in England, in, I think, South London, where Zimbabwe, India, Nigeria, and Jamaica will participate. So they are suggesting, I think wisely so and correctly so, that we ask the present staff, managers, the technical persons, to continue until after the Unity Cup. Then we will open up again, ask people to reapply, and then we go through the process.
Okay, so having gotten that document,
and we make the right choice.
Yeah, having gotten that document today, then those persons would not have had a chance to respond as yet. Then.
That's correct.
Okay, so more than likely, Rudolph Speed is going to be in charge of the team along with Miguel Corey and the rest of the staff for the Unity Cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one thing, that just as we are on the coaching topic, you spoke about the development of the players and what would have seen happen already in terms of the under 14s and the development program with FIFA, the under 17 World Cup, the under 20s and the regular girls and so on. But in terms of the coach, from a coach's perspective now, in terms of development, long-term strategy, in terms of coaching in Jamaica? What's the JFF stance on that?
JFF probably around CONCACAF has one of the better coaching education program. I mean, we, as it is now, when we got into office, we thought
the president, like I talk about how great we are as compared to CONCACAF. And he said we have one of the better ones across CONCACAF. Now, CONCACAF has about 40-something members. But 3/4 of those members small countries are then just not football oriented. Dominican Republic is now getting better at football, probably will pass us in a few years, the way they're investing in it. But talk about Haiti and Grenada and St. Lucia and BVI. Come on. Are we better than where we're supposed to be? That's the question. Are we better than Canada, Mexico, the US? Okay, let's carve them out. Are we better than Trinidad? We went and learned Trinidad was the one who started the whole thing in the Caribbean. We're going to learn from Trinidad. So we say we're the better one in CONCACAF. I don't understand what that means. What's the criteria? Are we better than half of the members? And do we use population size and resources as part of the criteria to assess where we fall into that realm? How does that work? I don't understand. When we say we're better than, I don't understand. Better than what is expected of us, given where we are, resource-wise, population size-wise, per capita-wise, in terms of what are we better than in? Keep saying that. It's only in the last few years the coaching start get uplifted. And Rudolph and Peter and Adam go Trinidad and learn them business and then come back and say, oh my God, we never know we were though. And then try to improve. So when we say we are better in terms of our branding, we're better in this, we are better in that. So why doesn't the betterment translate to the World Cup? Why doesn't the betterment translate better than Curacao? Or better than Haiti, who made the World Cup? Why isn't it translate better than them?
that we really needed to have proper coaches coaching at the primary level and at the premiership and in the schools. So we, of course, initiated our coaching education program, where Andrew Peart now is in charge of that program. And we would have done very well. We have in excess of 700 D-licensed coaches who are licensed to coach at the primary schools, 12 years and under. And then we have scores of D and B license who would coach at the premiership. And then there are, I think, maybe 20 A licensed coaches being prepared right now for their certification. So we have done very, very well. There are 700 certified coaches who coach at the primary school level. And this program was initiated when Minister Grange and I had some discussion in this regard. And in sports got involved. Later on, Ray and Neville came on board. And like I said, the rest is history. We are intent on having our coaches certified so that, because we wouldn't want, the friend of the school or the neighbor or the PE teacher to be the coach at the primary level, where it's important that you get started on the right footing. If not, you probably will need to be uncoached and recoached at age 12, 13, and 14. And that certainly will not be good for a development structure. So we are doing very well with our coaching education program. And a number of our local coaches are certified to teach B license. Peart, Vassar, Speed, Meron Gordon. These are a few of our coaches who at CONCACAF can teach around the region at the B license level. So
what about, Mr. President? What about in terms of will we at some stage begin to look inwards for the reggae boys, the senior reggae boys team? Are we reaching that stage?
But that's where we are right now. The coaches are local.
Yeah, we're here right now, but
in terms of as a policy, Mr. President,
years ago, I was intent on having a local coach, and I invested in Whitmore and now we are looking at speed. So I mean, we have failed with a number of overseas coaches. So I honestly think that we should bring our own coaches to a level that would make them marketable and make them in a position that they coach locally. And
So, okay. I think it's a good thing the JFF is making strides in improving the coaching. But how does one assess the quality of the coaching? Because what I don't hear in all these conversations is what are the barometers? What are the criteria? What is the performance indicators to provide a clear perspective as to whether or not the coaching is being effective? Right? We hear a lot of complaints about diaspora players and we need to have our own player and we have our own coach now. So do we have a timeline, Mr. President? That's why I interview you about me now. Have you set a timeline about when we should see the materialization, how this materialize into the ecosystem after football, and we can say, you know what, how we going to judge the coaching is working, Mr. President? Coming now, nobody asked them question there. I mean, you know anything they're talking about. How are we going to assess and judge whether this is working or not? Is it the national team? Is it junior team? If you want to talk about the under 17, we have the conversation. Come, no talk about the under 17, under 20. We'll talk about the conversation. Come, I totally agree with that. Come, watch the under 17 play, under 20 player. They have a long way to go. Can't keep the football. So is the coaching not allowing us to keep the football or we play kick and run? What's the rationale? Because I don't understand it. And yes, if after 9 years, it's good to see the president making some strides in terms of coaching. After 9 years. 9 years is a long time to be in a job now, people. 9 years is a long time to be in a job now. So if after 9 years you do something right, you want all the flowers to go with it? You should get some flowers, but you want all of the flowers to go with it? After 9 years? 9 years? Which a football lifetime, most players' career not even last 9 years.
Right now we have a few who are coaching overseas because of our coaching education program. So that's where my personal thoughts are. I mean, I want to be the president forever, but that's how I am thinking right now, that we really need to have our local coaches at the level where they can compete with coaches globally.
Mr. Speed, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Did I ask you a question about hiring coach and you say it was a board decision? My question to you now, sir. Your elevation as national coach, followed by the perks and salary, was your appointment as elected or a selected decision?
Which one? Which one of my appointment? As coach?
Yes, with the perks and salary. Yes, it was a board decision. It was selected.
Yes, the board. Yes, the board.
So, okay. So it's not a selected, it's not by the president.
No, man. No,
because
run like one thing. Yo, you ask me a question, you know what me answer.
Hold on, Mr. P.
Let me answer a question.
Yeah.
Look, all the way you hear the bloggers and those people talk is a policy. Is the board run things, not any one person at the JFF, not no go so. The board have to agree to can every coach.
So the board members voted to have you as national head coach.
Interim
national head coach.
Yes, and them only give me till yesterday.
How many people make up the board, Mr. Speed?
11.
11. And you recused yourself from that process, obviously, right?
Obviously.
Yes.
All right.
Because there's a joke going around that you recommended yourself and then voted to accept those recommendations.
Man, Mr. Speed, so you must go Google and inform yourself.
We can't carry on the conversation down there. A good program.
All right.
It's a good program. Any other question for you, Sir P?
No, once you're satisfied with that, it wasn't the president's decision and it's the board. I'm satisfied with that, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Here's my one for you, Mr. Speed. You have said that as of this moment, as of yesterday, you are no longer the coach.
No.
If it was a case that your contract would have say gone, huh?
Hey, in a football, enough. What if we have to go through? You know.
No, man. Here's the question.
So what if you're coming in, right?
This is the question. If it's a good question, then I think I ask only good questions. By the way, here is my question: do you think that not qualifying the team would have been a resignable sin if your contract had been extended.
And that is why I never put myself in that position. I always insisted that the contract should end at the qualifiers, so the board will be free to do whatever they wanted to do go forward.
Okay.
Because I'm that type of person. I'm not the one who's going to be trying to hold on to things like that. So that was the case.
That was the case.
So if the board, JFF board, because I know someone may not watch the program, but it will come back to you. If you are the ones making decision about the coach and which coach should be part of running the JFF, and now the president keep talking about speed. They're considering speed, but then he said it's about 4 applicants. So how is this process fair, transparent, objective? If I'm hearing the person who has the most influence be talking about one person, and if in that whole process, we're not hearing about it's a fair, open, objective process. And we're talking about having a local coach. Is that local coach currently living in Jamaica? Or is it a locally born coach, regardless of where they reside? Because the president mentioned that they've had coaches who are now coaching overseas. Are we taking a holistic approach? Is it a Jamaican citizen? Is it a Jamaican born citizen? Do they have to live in Jamaica currently? What's the criteria for this now new coaching process? And what's the criteria as it relates to the coach? Are we talking about leadership, technical capability? What's the requirement to be the head coach? What's the fundamental basic requirements? Is the search global we know it's going to be a local person. So if you're born overseas people, even if you're diaspora and you're Jamaican citizen, you probably not qualify. You have to be local. But does Shabar Thomas, for example, who's born in Jamaica, does he qualify if he has the requisite requirement? I heard Rudolph Speed said a while ago, maybe 2 years ago, that you have to be a UEFA Pro coach for him to consider you coach Jamaica. He doesn't have a UEFA Pro license. So does that mean now that he doesn't qualify, or he changed the rules to satisfy himself to assume the role? Because I saw it the other day. I saw someone playing it. That you have to be a UEFA Pro licensed coach. He said on another person channel a few years ago. People consider you to be the coach. So is he now saying that he's gonna dumb down the requirement? Can he have an A license to be the coach? We don't want a pro license no more. Because the pro license coach we know from Jamaica that live in Jamaica right. Well, they are Jamaica right now and still live there. Was overseas was Coley. I'm sure there may be others who may have a pro license. How are we evaluating candidates? Mr. Ricketts, the board. Do we ever set up, as I said before, criteria for assessment? And do we come up with a short list? Is the short list 4? Do you have to have certain requirements? So if you have a B license, you can apply. What license do you have to apply? Because I know that Rudolph said the other day, so 2030, you're going to need a pro license, and probably have what's the JFF requiring? And can you even coach with a B license? I assume you have to have an A license. And Jamaica have both, what them said? There's a number of A license coach in Jamaica now. Would Rudolph Austin qualify versus Rudolph Speed? Because all I hear about is how great Rudolph is, Rudolph has not won a match, a game outside the Caribbean, people. I repeat that. Rudolph Speed, as coach of the local team, has won a game outside the Caribbean. Whether for the national team in terms of head coach or for his Cavalier team. He beat Martinique, he beat Grenada. I'm sorry, I take it. He beat Caledonia, so that's outside the Caribbean. But I know a highly ranked team. He did beat Caledonia. So he win one game outside the Caribbean. I stand corrected. But Cavalier to me hasn't beaten no team outside the Caribbean. And this is related to the CONCACAF competition. Right? Let me say another thing too, which is very important. I asked a rhetorical question earlier about Rudolph. You know what? Let me go to the coaching process. Let me come back to the question. In terms of the coaching process, the board, supposedly the interviewing process, which should be comprehensive, that talks about technical capability, leadership, that talks about style of play the coach employ. All that should be part of the interview. I don't feel we're going through that with no Mark Claren. I don't feel we go through all of that. We just don't feel so. We don't have no specific information, but I don't feel we go through it. Right? The board signs off on who is supposed to be the coach. So the board just go rubber stamp Rudolph without assessing the other candidate them. We say we want to go World Cup. We say we want to win Nations League. We say we want to go Gold Cup next year. We just give Rudolph the job without him go through a process and be married against and assessed against other candidates. What are we doing? What are we doing? It don't make no sense to me. That's not how professional bodies operate. That's not how professional organizations operate. That don't make no sense. I understand here's an Asian pro-license, but none of the people in Jamaica now have no pro-license, much less they don't have no European pro-license either, right? Each federation, each configuration have them license. I'm sure Africa, them probably have them Africa pro-license. The material is probably the same, probably different instructors, but the material is probably the same. And Rudolph said he might use somebody who was, I forgot who he said the person was, but some well-known person he might use. Or somebody who is regarded in the field. Now, I said before that if you fail, if Rudolph was head of the Gleaner, CFO, and somebody go do a job and then lose a client, which generate 9% of revenues, and I get rid of them. Let me give you an example Rudolph has done, people, with failure. May I use Rudolph example? I mean, I understand how Rudolph and the president can just come try it makes we look like some little fool people and not thinking about what they didn't accomplish and the implications of it. Rudolph, which I gave him credit for, I mean, even texted him about this way back when Cavaliers played Sabao in Dominican Republic, I think they won on goal difference or something. And Rudolph put on a player, people, in the 75th minute. Give him some task for though. And Rudolph take him off in the 85th minute. You know why? Because he failed to do what Rudolph thought he should be doing, given his objective. And Rudolph made a decision to pull him off of the field after 10 minutes, which can destroy somebody's career now. It was the right move. But didn't take him off after 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes, 10 or 11 minutes. Him put him on and substitute him off. Can he mess up? That's how you handle failure in some respects. Now, that kid may learn from a failure, but Rudolph shows that he can be ruthless. Ruthless. Rudolph can be ruthless in his role because the sole objective is success, is to win. Right? And Rudolph made the right decision going go and go play Messi and bank enough money, which is a good thing. Me feel good for him. Me no bad mind. Me welcome it. But if Rudolph can do that in a certain setting, because he's been ruthless, because the person failed, why shouldn't Rudolph expect the board to be ruthless when the president and Rudolph and certain organization was responsible for overseeing the football program for the World Cup qualification, responsible for overseeing the coach hiring, which was awful, maintaining the coach, which was awful, don't fire the coach, which was awful. He then became technical advisor because he was concerned that the coach wasn't doing his job right. They failed. He then became interim coach, then failed, and he still won the job. What they really? And the president having chance and say, well, I'm responsible because I'm the leader, but I have great success. Me not understand people. Me confused. But we keep going. We keep going. So here's the question. Should Mike Ricketts resign from the JFF? It's been an open debate. It's been another question. My understanding from many is that in Jamaica, there's not a lot of pushback, and most of the pushback from overseas. But let's go through this debate. And we're going to talk about part of this conversation, the quote-unquote accomplishments of the JFF since 2017.
Here's another.
I don't have to think about that because it's just no, it's not.
So here is what's interesting. So I decided I combine these things, people. You're going to hear Rudolph speak first. They're going to hear the president, Mike Ricketts, speak. What's interesting about the conversation is they have the same lines in terms of the substantiation, justification, rationale for them maintaining their role. Listen.
I think.
Here's another question that you may think it's a good or you may think it's not great. You may say, why ask you? But there's been calls in some circles from Mike Ricketts' head as the JFF president. Do you have any comments on that?
So Mike Ricketts is one of the most successful presidents ever. 2 Women World Cup, Under 17 World Cup qualification, big strides in coaching education, National Academy. I mean, we have seen what the Under 20 is doing. That progression is not rare. What we're doing, we're really in our progress patch. And yes, we didn't qualify for the World Cup, and that's a bad mark. But we do our worry for other things. The Women's Premier League revamp, men's the whole part of the thing that he would have accomplished in his point. So I'm not agreeing with anything that the person has said. He's one of the most successful presidents ever.
Okay.
By far. Not even
2 Women's World Cup and the Under-17 World Cup did happen under his watch as well. Me tell the
So we're gonna keep going. You're gonna hear my crickets, but Orville, gonna need some backbone, and also need to be very intrusive, and also need to be very thoughtful about how you just take what somebody says without challenging it, without providing a different perspective, without making sure that it can stand up to scrutiny. I'm going to do that when the president is done talking about his successes.
public said this asking him to resign, I think is a joke.
National Academy.
Now we don't ask politicians and
before him, we only have C license coach, now we have people at pro license.
Well, you know, you're completely wrong about that politician thing, though.
That them don't resign?
No, people don't ask them to.
No, man.
Nobody not ask them.
The opposition always asks them.
But the opposition people don't resign. They are in power.
No, that nobody resign. Neither in power or opposition. Nobody resign.
No, that's enough to say. But people do ask him to resign all the time.
And Wally.
Here's the problem, people. You know what? I think I made a mistake. What Cranky and some other non-locally based YouTubers are doing, they are judging the football, the JFF, the leadership, the board, everything's the ecosystem of football based on not even the international standard, based on what is deemed to be competent, good, even okay. They're judging something based on criteria which don't seem to reside in Jamaica. Seriously. When I hear some of these people in traditional media talk to Rudolph, I am concerned, like really concerned, about the competence of those individuals, about whether or not they are compromised, whether or not access doesn't allow them to be objective, whether or not they understand that they're the guardian of information and they are the ones that the public look to for information, perspective, opinion, views that's going to inform how they would think. Now, in the US, for example, we have people like Fox News who take advantage of that and use it in the wrong way. Not only them, but they're a perfect example. But the overseas-based YouTubers who are very, very independent of the process, who have a stake in the game, but mainly from a fan perspective and advocates for Jamaican football, who are the advocates for Jamaican football, have a problem with this. Those who are based locally seem to accept it as normalized. We can't accept it as normalized because it's not normal in our world. Now, if you go to Washington and you hear someone in the White House attack, where him lie every goddamn day, that's become normal for some people. We live in a world where we understand from a humanity standpoint what good looks like, what bad looks like. And we can't get comfortable with what we deem to be bad. And some people want us to get comfortable with it. So with this notion that we made 2 World Cup for the women, and we made the Under-17 World Cup, and who has the audacity to question the president and his success, Cranky's going to break it down for you tonight a little way, and we can talk about it. Because it's nonsense.
Part of things are wrong about now.
No, we know, but people do ask him to resign. That's the point.
It's not credible. All right. It's not in our name.
It's not.
Yeah.
All right, we have anybody else there? Let's be back on line. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, hello?
Oh, before you answer this one, Mr. P, who was it that asked why, or Fuzzy, why was Damian Lowe not considered? So I'll ask that for him.
Yeah, so as I said before, you see, one of the things, without saying a lot more, one of the thing is after we had 3 persons in the back line cramp him up, right? Remember? We had 3 persons.
You move that forward.
A question.
Yeah. One, Richard King kept.
I move this forward, but no, I want to talk about Richard King. Okay, here we are now. Let me just move this. All right.
That you will not be the president forever. There have been calls since the.
Here's another. So this was Rudolph Speed talking about what the president has accomplished and why he and the president should maintain their role. This is the interview being done now with the president. So the previous one is Rudolph Speed on KLAS. This is the president on IRIE FM talking about why he should be retained in his current role. And by the way, what I've done is put a master chart up there, people, and you can read it, and we'll go over it, that talks to the different groups within the football configuration, confederation, I should say, and then what the different levels are, different competition, and how I grade it. When I look at the chart, a 2 grade me have. How much category me have up there? And I read it.
To qualify for the World Cup, for you to step down, for your administration to step down. People saying that they're asking people to boycott the football program. How would you describe, as a man who heads the ship, how would you describe your stewardship since you took over as president?
I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but people can say whatever they want to say. This JFF, and by any stretch of the imagination, is by far the most successful ever in the history of football in this country. We have gone to 3 World Cup tournaments. Chances are we could get to more. When we got into office, the JFF debt was $400 million. We owe for statutory payments hundreds of millions. We couldn't get a tax compliance certificate, and the staff at the JFF, the directors, the general secretary were intent on getting this debt down. Right now, we are current with our statutory payments. We have our tax compliance certificate. We have a contract with Adidas, which is probably the best ever in the history of any sporting entity in Jamaica. So people can say what they want to say. Right now, our football is comparable to almost any country in CONCACAF. We are ranked with the best. Our issues are, we may not have the resources of Mexico or US or Canada or even Panama, maybe Costa Rica, but we have done very well with the limited resources we have. And because we have not qualified for market, it's painful. But because we have not qualified for one tournament, and it's the same persons who are doing this, and the same persons who hate us from day one. And I'm telling you this, that there are some people who are just intent on bringing down the JFF, but it will not happen because we are intent on growing the sport. Not qualifying for, there are 211 countries that started the program of World Cup qualification, and 48 have qualified from 211. So all the others should have resigned, even those who have far better finances, better resources, better facilities than we do have.
Yes, on the matter.
All right, so let's address the whole thing, people, about success and how great they have done. Let's take a step back in history. All right, I'm sit down and relax. I'll give you some information. So, in terms of global standing, the president said how great we are. When the JFF took over in September 2016, someone who can correct me on this, because I do some research, so it may not be 100%. I'll get anything wrong or not. When the JFF took over in 2017, Jamaica was ranked 59 in the world. Where Jamaica ranked now? We talk about so we make progress now, and all these great things we have done. Jamaica's ranked 59. We're ranked now. What we did? 70, 71? So 9 years later, you say we have made progress. If ranking is indicative of progress, that means we haven't progressed that way in the men's team. And the men's team is 90% of your football program. So we were ranked 59 then. We rank what? 70 now, 71? I remember in 2017, we go final CONCACAF now. We have Schaefer as coach. No, Schaefer coach, or whoever it is. I think it's Schaefer. Or it's Schaefer or Whitmore, one of them. But we're 59th. So now we are 71, right? 70. Right? CONCACAF ranking. No, reggae boys reactor, just sit down and relax and listen. Let me talk about. He said we were well recognized on the global stage. I'm the one giving you some facts to assess how successful we have been. So reggae boy reactor, get your pen and paper and get some lesson. Because you like to run off your mouth and I like to listen. You don't listen. You don't listen really well. Just like to talk. You're busy at typing and listen. We were ranked 59th in 2017. We are now 11 to 12 places below where we were ranked. You just think about that, people. Digest that. That affects a lot of things. That affects competition you can get. That affects who you engage with, match you can get. That affects your revenue stream, okay? Think about that. We were ranked, I think, about 6 in CONCACAF. Now we are behind Honduras. So, US in front of us, Canada in front of us, Mexico in front of us, Panama in front of us, Costa Rica in front of us, Honduras in front of us. And if we don't mind, Haiti soon pass we. Okay? So we haven't progressed in CONCACAF from a rank. You say, oh, we rank top of CONCACAF. No, we're not. Unless you think Honduras is big time football powerhouse. We can live with the Costa Rica and Panama. They can live better than us. I said they have more resource. Okay? So in the first two ranking, we don't catch up. In terms of Gold Cup, we made the Gold Cup final in 2017. We haven't gone back there since. Okay? The last Gold Cup, we finished down the track. So look at my arrow. Declining in terms of ranking, sort of stagnant when it comes to CONCACAF, declining in terms of ranking for the Gold Cup. Or where we fall on the Gold Cup. Not in terms of ranking, but we fall on the Gold Cup. Right? We've been going downwards. If you think about World Cup qualifiers, don't even talk about it. 21, 20, don't talk about World Cup qualifiers. Hasn't worked out. And that's the biggest thing. That is $10 million minimum plus other costs you do for preparation costs. That's down the drain. So that's a red, people. World Cup qualifiers, major, major failure. Nations League, we came third when Huggins was here. He left. We know where things go from there. Right? Copa America, we're not going to spend too much time on that. Competition too big for me. But that wasn't great. When Copa America, when we play at South America, we did really well. FIFA's Women World Cup. Let's talk about that one, the people. Let's talk about that one there. The women have been to 2 World Cup. That is wonderful. Is it because of the JFF or despite the JFF? Now, Cranky can remember. I talk about something in terms of the third person now. When Cranky was the one getting beaten, if they follow the JFF purview, then we get some credit. And the JFF fight the girls, them fight them. And I push them, saying, if you grew up and the adults in the room, they never want to hear that. All them want to do a push back and act with them ego thing and them chest out. The JFF, the same JFF now, what take all the credit for the good Women World Cup. It's nothing but the Women World Cup, people. So we made 2 World Cup. And the money for the Women's World Cup is much smaller than the money for the men's. Much smaller. We'll go through some stats. For the women, people, the JFF president say, oh, they now start by the Women's Premier League, which is true, which is a good thing. You notice that we don't hear no cussing and no pushback and no fighting about diaspora versus local for the women team. I wonder why. Most of the women, them, are diaspora, you know? Why aren't we getting pushback on how many diaspora women in the Women's World Cup team? The team we celebrate, the team the JFF take all the credit for, the team the JFF push them chests out, so we make 2 World Cup and we're trying to qualify for a 3rd. Why are we getting pushback on the so we have too much diaspora playing in our team? God, they have the problem. Why is that? Somebody please explain that to me, people. We come on these forums, we come in these channels, we hear every goddamn Jamaica reporter who interview anybody. See them crap we are here. When are we going to do our local thing? Why so much diaspora players? Why aren't we beating up the JFF for having so many women diaspora players in the national team? Why aren't we saying we have too much of them because we don't want to go on a World Cup? Why aren't we saying that? This bullshit narrative 24/7 in our ears about diaspora. Why are we here for the women? And if we're saying we don't have enough local players, then whose fault is that? Where's the JFF been to build up the women's program? We produce all these traditional track and field athletes in women in fields. That means that we know we have the athletic in the DNA, the prowess to do well in the sport. Why is it being pushed at the grassroots level for girls to get them to be like how the US has become over the years? Because they have all these Title IX and all these programs to elevate women. Why are we doing that in Jamaica? Where's the JFF in the process? Why are the diaspora women getting beaten like the diaspora men them? Why we want to take all the credit and none of the fault? Don't we make 2 World Cup? I'm here, but I still let the man, me and the man fight with dancing me here. So a board member said, it now go so, me dancing gone. And now it is the epitome of their success. It is the essence of their success. It's everything. We made 2 Women's World Cup. They're taking all the credit. And some people say they made the women made the World Cup despite the JFF, not because of JFF. But JFF take all the credit. And they've been successful. And he's been the most successful president under the history of Jamaica football. You can never say that. If you go World Cup, for Men's World Cup, you can't say that. You can never say that. If you haven't gone to the Men's World Cup, no matter what you have done, you can't say that. Even if you improve the coaching, even if you improve the infrastructure, you can't say that. Because the ultimate objective is to get the men's team to the World Cup. Always remember that. Until the women's team get closer to the men's team, the objective is the men's team because a lot of different things involved in that. Global profile, money, player profile, across the board. Not going to the World Cup is huge for Jamaica in terms of the negative impact it has. Let's go to under 20 men. I heard Rudolph been espousing this view, about the under 20 men and how great they are. And I don't like to knock kids because it's not fair. But I watch the under 20 play people. They are not what they appears to be. Let me say this again. And I hope I'm proven wrong. Unless Jamaica gets supplemental talent from overseas in diaspora for the under 20 team, they're going to struggle. Them can't make 3 passes. The same team will dominate the Caribbean because we keep lowering the bar to justify our situation and our success. We keep lowering the bar. The under 20 team last time around run through the Caribbean, not at the same level, they run through the Caribbean. And what happened? Them get 15 love in 3 games. The same under 20 team we're talking about, not the same team as this one, but a similar under 20 team that won out in the Caribbean, that went to CONCACAF, that got beat 3 by Cuba, 3 by Costa Rica, and 9 by the US. The under 20 team we have now, big, strong, look wonderful, have 1 overseas born players I can, at least from Europe on the team. I think he's from Holland. And maybe somebody use them from the US. Them can't make 3 passes, pass offline. And we are seeing them all dominate, because they might dominate. Really? The under 17 team will make the World Cup. That beat Canada. Couldn't keep the ball. Canada about 77% possession. Canada's problem is this team was more physical, stronger, more athletic than them, and it works in the junior level. It doesn't work at the senior level. But let's keep going. So the U17 didn't make the World Cup last year. And by the way, U17 has been watered down by FIFA. More opportunities to qualify, and it's done every single year. You have been in power for 9 years. Almost 9 years. Stop it. Look at my board, people. Look at the board. Let me go back to the board. Can we take on the board? I'll go back a little bit. See the board, When you can open the panel thing there. I only have 2 green for women. I don't have green any place else. I have yellow for the under 17. I have red in terms of FIFA ranking. I have red for the World Cup qualifiers. And for the women under 17, under 20, we are all over the place. So this thing about how successful you have been, and I deem green to be successful. You have not been as successful as you've been espousing, I deem green to be successful. You've not been as successful as you're telling people, We're telling people how great we are and successful we are. Hey, nationalists. Look on the board, nationalists. Look on the board. Come on, tell me I'm wrong. Where have been so? You talk about how successful we have been. Now, I don't have the money thing here. He talked about being $400 million in debt. And by the way, most of that money, I think, was Schaefer money. They were under. Yeah, they did a good job of coming out of the financial rut they were in. But they might bring themselves back in a financial rut, give them what's transparent. But most of that money, like that money was what them was Schaefer and some of the creditors, but Schaefer wasn't a fight. Is my understanding. Could be wrong, but it's my understanding. So this thing about how successful we have been in the history of Jamaica football and how great we are, look at the board, people. Look at the board. We only have 2 green and the woman themselves can't take total responsibility and take all the acclaim for them success. God never help them in some of the instances. Yes, it's under your purview. Yes, you're responsible for the football program, so it falls under you. But they push back and says some of what they accomplished wasn't because of you. So this view that you have been so great, look on the board and tell me how great you have been. Please look at it and tell me how great you have been. Because the arrows are not pointing green. Now, I would admit, I don't have the coaching there. I don't have the financials there. And I probably should have added them in. But we talk about the football and the football outcome, not the things surrounding the football. Now, if you show me where your infrastructure has improved significantly, I'll come back and the coaching has improved. The coaching improvement. Not that don't call your people. I'm soon done. Not that don't call your people. If you can show me where you have all green in terms of the various teams that you have, then we can talk. But until you can tell me that, me not buy it. You can go espouse the view and can talk. And by the way, if you're a board of director member in Jamaica Football Federation, look at my board. You can assess it. You can decipher it. It may not be 100%, I say. And you can tell me when we rank on it. But tell me on the board if you deem this to be success. As I said, some more qualitative factors, not quantitative, are not here, such as the monetary component of it, the finances of the JFF, which if you know idea means not no money, and also the whole idea of the coaching. But we can talk about that. Let's keep going.
Finances, better resources, better facilities than we do have.
Yes, on the matter of money, Mr. Ricketts. We know that when we have foreign coaches, we usually pay them a whole heap of money. How different is it now that we have local coaches at the helm of the Reggae Boys team?
Can you say that again?
I'm saying when we employ overseas coaches, we usually pay them a whole heap of money, 45,000, 50,000 US per month, and that kind of region there. Are local coaches paid in that region?
Most times, to be honest, no. Most times, no. No.
I know in a top of time it was a little bit. Mr. Speed man, is a money man, deal with money, so I'm not going to take a little bit.
He's an accountant by profession, by trade. But that's why I should take a little bit. I know what money means. I know it's difficult to get money.
That's me not taking a little bit of money.
So people, it's a serious question. How much should... Well, we're talking about Speed as if Speed got the job. Reggae Boys board of directors, Jamaican Football Federation board of directors. Nobody nothing get no job. People should be interviewed, and you go through the interview process to get somebody a job. You can't just give somebody a job like that. And it's an interim rule. You know, just give people a job, full-time coaching job, and it's an interim. You have to go through a very extensive interview process. What we do? It made no sense to the people. It's not like this is a coach who have great international experience. And even then, they have to go through an interview process. What are we doing? We want a local coach. Let's go hire Rudolph because he's an insider. No, it has to be a process. And we hire the person who was the architect of the non-qualification for the World Cup. And we have a president who is recommended him, who was the architect and the overseer for the failed World Cup qualification. The most important event in the last 30 years in Jamaica football. Even more, probably just as important as 98. Give them the money involved. Really? Really? I find this hard. And we talk about compensation. And the fact that Rudolph may want to be paid in commensurate with other coaches who have coached Jamaica football team who are foreign coaches. Let me say this, people. In any organization, in most times, people at similar level may not get paid the same. Your resume, a lot of times, and need informs your compensation. So, if you're Schaefer from Germany with big resume, if you are McLaren, even though you're not good, you have big resume. If you're Hagrimson, who took Iceland to the Euro and beat up England and go to them bracket, you built a resume. If we're talking about giving $400,000 and we have to the JFF not money to those, so Rudolph should get $400,000 too. You get paid commensurate with a couple of things. One is cost of living in the area you live, your lifestyle. Two is your resume and your ability, right? That informs your compensation. Three is what the organization can afford. This whole idea that I should get paid commensurate with all them foreign coach there. First of all, I'm going to get Whitmore peanuts. Whitmore get peanuts, decent money in Jamaica, but the peanuts him get. Now if you tell me Rudolph will get a couple $100K US dollar, we can say, I kind of high enough, but we can't live with that. Because frankly, the going rate for a coach in Jamaica, is probably twice that anywhere. I did some research, and because I couldn't confirm the numbers, I decided not to put them up. I looked at Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti. Based on my research, and I couldn't substantiate all of them, Haiti was the lowest paid, and it was between 150 and 250. Couldn't give me an exact number. Panama was a big number. Costa Rica, a decent number. Right? Honduras, a halfway decent number. the numbers are more than $200,000 for each of them. Rudolph Speed and next. Most of the players, most of those persons have big resume. International players with big country and them have big resume. Rudolph not on resume if you get $300,000, $400,000 a year, $30,000 a month. Rudolph not on resume there. Nah, sir. Rudolph may get in a private life, but not a resume for football. He not no resume close to that. Or Rudolph international resume. Some little team where nobody know how to play. And Caledonia and resume for international football now. As him like to say, he no lose no game yet. What's Rudolph's resume to get $400,000 a year? He not no resume for that. It's like you pay a rookie. Rookie's pay scale is different from a senior person pay scale now. There's no way Rudolph will get no $400,000, $300,000 a month. It's a $5 million. I mean, if I true or not. Even if a rumor, board of director, first of all, interview for the job. If you restrict the criteria to locally born or person with Jamaican citizenship, please go out and do your normal search. Don't do the search like we did last time, but just like McLaren, because McLaren worked with Jamaica during COVID with the youth development program. Don't do that again. We see the result of that. Every process give every result. Nonsense. Go out and do a thorough search. Thorough search for your coach. Don't just pick somebody because, you know what, on Rudolph and Rudolph are insider. That is not fair to anyone. How is that fair to, hey, Miguel Coley, how is that fair to you? How is that fair to you, Rudolph Austin? How is that fair to you, Trevor Thomas, if you want to get involved in the process? How is that fair to them people? You're going to use nepotism. We so use a process whereby it's who you know that get the job. We don't understand. This don't make no sense to nobody now. We can't have an old boys network and do things. No, it has to be a very transparent, objective process. And there's two problems with the process. One is Rudolph and Mike Ricketts failed to qualify us. Second, so them fail and we just give them Rudolph the job, figure coach. Like, what we are do? Where are the people? What are we doing? What are we doing? No, look, if a country wants to go local with their coach, me not gonna fight them, right? England are complaining about Tuchel, a German, a coach them, because you know German and England history. Them can't get comfortable with it. But they're not no quality coach in England. More than Eddie Howe. Only Eddie Howe here, but England not no quality coach. For whatever reason, and they have the best league in the world. Spain have all these qualifications and most pro-licensed coach in the world by far. And them have coach PSG, them have coach Man City, them have coach Arsenal, them have coach all the teams, them what is Spain coach them. Because they invest in coaching. So I go to the JFF interest in coaching, you know. But they have to get experience. Them can't just invest in the coach them yard. Because right now, we don't develop no players, we don't develop no midfielders, so we don't know how that work. Until we start develop so many players there, we don't want to hear it. So at the end of the day, people, I do not understand this concept that Rudolph will get $5 million a year. If you do what? You know, on a resume get $5 million a year. Me not fight Rudolph for the money. Me not bad mind. Even though I take the job for $5 million a year. I take the job. Right now, I don't want to hire me JFF. I take the job for $5 million. I must can do a better job. I'm just get someone who can coach and me just oversee them and give them direction. Right? Give them direction. But nobody with it, man. $5 million a year. Come on, Rudolph, man. And Rudolph's supposed to be an insider who support the JFF. Oh no, so the JFF not no money. I was told that the failure at the Gold Cup was a huge deal for the JFF monetarily. I was told by an insider that is a huge deal. Cranky, we don't have no local that can move us forward. Well, look, I think I was told it was a money. I was told two things. One is a money situation, and two is foreign coaches have failed us. Lord. Oh, foreign coaches have failed us with the women team though. Because Lon Donaldson overseas and Busby overseas and whoever cares. So the women team now failed, but the coach don't have blame. Blame the people them who select the coach and at the board responsibility if you approve the coach and the board don't do them job right. The board hasn't been as effective in their challenge as it should be. Hey, you know for blame the board for McLaren hire, you know. The board fall down on the job. The board fell down on the job for McLaren's hire. There's no way in God's name, if we had YouTubers like 433 coming out and saying this is a ridiculous hire. He was even more, it was even 10 times worse than that. He was basically saying this hire is ridiculous. It's one of the worst hires ever. But them call it one with the brolly or with the trolley, whatever the hell them call it in England. And what I did, somebody sent me something the other day. Right? And I sent them back something. Somebody sent me something. And sent me something and said, YouTubers that criticized me. Not YouTubers, but somebody that criticized me. Anyway, what it was. And I pulled from the from some newspapers the headline. No, Wally with the brolly, them call him. The Daily Mail labeled him. This was McLaren. The Wally with the brolly suggesting he looked more like he was auditioning for Singing in the Rain than managing a team. The Daily Mail described the image as giving the wrong message and making him look like a fool, which is probably what they thought he was. He was deluded or out of touch. The son called McLaren was on Planet Donut and described a manager who away with the fairies after he defended a 0-0 draw against Israel. The Daily Mirror ran with the back page headline Mad Mac. The Daily Mail labeled him a Matt's dunce. And people talk about we divisive and we rude and we terrible and we are cancer. Go read the newspaper them and how they McLaren. Go read them, talk about how cranky them and YouTubers are this and that. Go to England when coaches do poorly and see what them do with them. Huh? And describe McLaren. McLaren should never been hired. Rudolph owns McLaren and the board owns McLaren and the president owns McLaren. We're not talking about. So we're talking about how we feel. Stop it, man. Stop it.
Yeah. Mr. President.
If you were to do it again, Mr. President, for this campaign, especially after the draw was made, what would you have done different if you were to do it again?
Well, listen,
this
hindsight is 2020 vision.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't.
Did I run McLaren from the Gold Cup?
Well, I don't know.
So he came up with stuff afterwards. Let me just say this, people. If somebody asks you, you failed to qualify, what would you have done different? And your first answer is, I don't know. And they have to put words in your mouth so you to come up with an answer. Are we for real? First of all, board for the JFF. Has a post-mortem been done to determine the rationale for non-qualification? Have we done a post-mortem? Has a comprehensive post-mortem been done? And Rudolph, you talk about this way back when he was head of the technical committee. So they get a post-mortem after almost every competition. And then they make determination about coach, whatever they make determination about, after it's been done. Has it been done? And if it hasn't been done, then you're neglecting your duties, board of directors. If a post-mortem, people, I'm not taking any call yet. Not taking any call yet. Sorry. And it's a long soliloquy. If a post-mortem has not been done, then the board is being negligent in its role. How can the board hire a coach to coach the national team when they have no goddamn idea what happened as to why they didn't make the World Cup and make sure they don't make the same mistake again? Let me want to call some bad word. Or if you make a decision, board, or if you make a decision about going forward, if you don't know what happened in the history, in the past, how are you going to make a decision? Does it make any sense to anybody? You have to go through in fine detail as to what were the big picture items, middle picture items, small items that informed the failure. You have to do an assessment. And how do we ensure we eliminate, mitigate, and don't repeat history? What are we doing? We're going to select a coach, we coach the national team, we're going to try to get Nations League and Gold Cup, and we haven't done a look back and see what happened. When we have the easiest zone in the history of football. And we have idiot people in Reggae Boys Reactor and nationalists are coming here and say all kind of stuff in the chat. But me read every single one of them, by the way. And I say all kind of stuff. And now think about, say, this is about Jamaica, not about them. It's about Jamaica football. And criticism is inherent when you're in the public domain and it's a performance-based situation, whether politics or sports. And that we have the right and the obligation, if we're in the so-called media, to express our opinion and perspective and to bring these things to the public domain and make them their own decision. How in God's name are we going to select a coach going forward, subsequent to the Unity Cup, to run the program, and we haven't done a look back? We haven't done a post-mortem. We haven't done an assessment to see what transpired, what went wrong, and what we make sure it don't happen again. How are we going to do that, board? Sheridan Samuels on the board. All the board member them. Huh? And put them up. No, I go up on the board at all. The board up. They don't want to go up. But how are we going to do that, people? Gina. How are we going to do that? I don't understand. New Wave says, again, New Wave, thanks for the super chat. No, after action review and proper reports presented to the board should be utilized as a guide to hire the new coach. The board has the purview to do whatever they want to do. If the board want to be involved in the process, they can. Right? The board is the overseer for the organization. They're responsible for leadership, for governance. They're responsible for running the organization. They delegate their authority to different people to execute it. That's what they do. Huh? New Way have said, cranky, no accountability. Yeah, it's past that. It's worse than that. Let's keep going.
Well, probably that in hindsight would have been the right thing to have done.
Are you employing Mr. Speed earlier?
Yeah, maybe Speed had coached the team during that period would have been in the World Cup. Because there were a number of issues.
People, Speed was not the coach, he was a technical advisor. And Speed absolved himself by saying, I was there to assist, not insist. I don't know in any organization where you are the boss and someone is working for you and you delegate responsibility to them that you can't insist, you only assist. Then you're not the boss.
Really? I mean, I would have had strong meetings, strong discussions with that particular coach. I mean, I don't think he would have spent enough time here. In fact, he never spent any time here.
Oh, you agree to something like that? Oh, no, I agree to something like that.
Listen, Aboriginal, you mean we agree to something like that? It's a man breach. What do you mean agree to? Nobody agreed to that.
The person here know that he's breaching officially. We never used to hear that.
Mr. Ricketts, so
roll on, Robert, man. Hold on. We never used to hear saying breach.
Well,
you do, Mr. Ricketts?
Ricketts?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, whenever at first I hear saying breach, that makes it even worse or upset now.
A number of times, the coach, after a game overseas, we just jump on a flight straight back to England. Not even travel back with us. It was difficult after the World Cup, even though probably in hindsight we probably would have been better off. But I mean, we just thought that to have brought in a new coach then would have presented major challenges.
And by the way, people, all these YouTubers were advocating for the coach to be fired after the Gold Cup, but they know nothing about football. And now we have this hindsight view to say we should have, we could have, we would have. Waste of time.
The situation was the same with Al Grimson.
We toyed with the idea, but thought that it might not have been the best move. It turned out, as it is now in hindsight, that we should have done that.
Was it the same thing with Al Grimson in terms of not living here after a time?
Say it again, Robert.
I'm saying it was the same thing with Al Grimson because after the first couple months, he never used to stay.
Al Grimson, when he just came, he said that he didn't want to live in Kingston. So, of course, I mean, these are the challenges. Yeah, we rented a facility in Ocherios, and he lived there. And one at a time, his wife came and his kids, and they were all there. And his wife went back. In fact, his wife even participated in a women's training program where we worked a little bit with the women's team. And then all of a sudden that he wanted to go home and he wanted now to spend more time at his overseas base. But at least Algrimson spent some time here. He went around to the parishes. He did some coaching at the parishes. He worked with the respective parish associations. He even worked with some of the Premier League clubs. And I don't know what really would have happened, but I think we were at the Copa tournament when he just said he wanted to discuss with me some personal issues, and he just told me that he wanted to go home. He wanted to give up on his coaching duties here.
As we come towards the end of this interview.
So here's the problem I have with some of these interviewers. They don't do their research. They don't do their homework. They don't take what's given. Hagrimson went to Ireland. Ireland hired him way before he left Jamaica, way before Copa. If you read the history of Ireland hiring him, they made a decision from, I think it was the end of the previous year. And they hold it off and could keep it secret until he got hired. He was unhappy. I knew when Hagrimson first joined. I know some information I won't talk about. But it wasn't the smoothest process when he joined and the transition to get housing and do a lot of different stuff. It wasn't the smoothest transition. And I don't think he was comfortable with the professionalism and lack thereof, the support he was getting. That's why he made the decision. The excuse that we get from Rudolph saying him lose to Canada, or the president saying he don't know what happened. Also, there was some interference. I'm sorry, but there was. Like here, nobody wants to say there was interference. But Hagrimson wasn't having it. And then when Rudolph them said John Wall had to go because John Wall want to bring in 14 players with the under 20 team. The same under 20 team that did well, he want to bring them in. That was part of the problem too. And Hagrimson and John Wall were locked at the hips. There were a lot of things involved between them and the JFF which weren't going as smoothly. And the JFF pleading ignorance with the whole thing. Can't be that ignorant, people. Man just want to leave and don't know what happened. Really interesting. Hagrimson got a job, so he decided to leave. He got a job. Got a job.
Mr. Ricketts, we are going to be starting another World Cup cycle pretty soon after the end of this one. What measurable targets would you use to define success in terms of the senior men's program over the next 2 years?
If I'm comprehending and understanding your question, Robert, is that as it is now, between now and then, we must do very well. Even though it's an informal sets of games, the Unity Cup is critical. Mm-hmm. The Nations League starts at the end of the year. We must do well at the Nations League. The Gold Cup is going to be a good measuring stick to see where we are in terms of coaching, in terms of preparation, in terms of available talent. As it is now, we just need to be careful with our selection process, because sometimes, we bring some players here who are probably not really better than some of the local players. We have to.
So I need to understand which player have we brought that's not better than a local player? Can you name the players them that kept local players out of the team? Because any local player will have any ability in our team, Any local player will have any decent ability in our team. We can point to instance where a local player kept out a better overseas born player. We don't have to go far to point out to them, people. Let me say this, people. You see this, people? You see this? This is from the JFF Constitution, people. From its Constitution. May I read it? It says, discrimination of any kind against a country, private person, or group of people on account of race, skin color, ethnic, national, or social origin, gender, disability, language, religion, political opinion, or any other opinion, wealth, birth, or any other status, sexual, etc., is prohibited. This is the JFF Constitution. We pull it from it. And these are the people talking about players born overseas. These are the people who have quota in them system. So deny a kid born overseas who have come Jamaican citizen from the national team. They are going against their own constitution. They might discriminate. You hear the president talk about we bring some players here who may not be at the same level or is not better than who we have. And the same bullshit is being spewed in the Jamaica community 24/7. Like the man them living on some cave and some bush and not understand nothing about the football. Me hear topical talk about this all the time. They might call out some player name when I good enough. Dixon played over Campbell. Let's think about this. And the people on Dixon, Kaim Dixon, who is in the academy at Charlton, who went to League 2 and didn't make it. And Campbell, who played for Jamaica the other day, who now was in the team, coming Rudolph picked the best player of them, not like McLaren, who felt the pressure to play locally born players. Campbell started last game, was better than Bailey, but still get taken out of the game and Bailey, who have him 101 turnover. That's discrimination too, in a different form. We played a locally born player numerous times over an overseas born player, and they're both citizens of Jamaica. Because we want to play local, and that's what local people desire. I know I'm talking about bullshit about diaspora player come here and they be better than this bullshit, stupid ass people on the radio who ask every question them, a piss off people. Same shit, different day. Same crap, different day. Same nonsense, different day. Diaspora. Now beat the girls, them kind of cry and go World Cup and take credit. But when it comes to the youth, them who want to play for Jamaica and my citizen of Jamaica, them naturalized, who don't want to cuss them and beat them. And idiot people like Maverick, topical Maverick, who don't have no substance, who don't do no research, and them coming out of them mouth. But now wax lyrical about these players. See them players them go Premier League. 20 them go Premier League, Maverick. Who now big up, who don't coach you them the right way. All this great coaching we're supposed to have, now coach them the right way, them can't play at a certain level, and I don't want to beat the youth them from overseas. And you know the worst thing? I can't do nothing for the youth them. I said, them play international football. But them not telling them that. We'll keep going with the president say, because this is a very important president say. It is so annoying. Same shit coming from people like the president.
Not because you're an overseas player and you give an indication that you want to play for Jamaica, that is automatic that you should. What we are.
Do we ever hear that about a local player, people? Do we ever hear anything about this about a local player ever in the history of a local player? Do you ever hear anything about this in that same concept? The kids don't pick themselves. Some of them want to play for Jamaica. What's wrong with that? They have Jamaica heritage. Their parents born in the grandparents. What's wrong with that? What does Morocco do? Isn't half the DR Congo team who beat us come from born outside of DR Congo? Isn't 99% of the Curacao team who beat us born outside of Curacao? Why do we have a problem with this? Why do we have to play to the local narrative nonsense about this? Why do we have to play to that? To play up to them? Why the JFF management, executive board, the idiot people like Roy Simpson? Why do we have to play up to these people? Why do we have to play up to this? Why do we have to do that? It is so disingenuous. It is awful. We not disrespect the youth them. The CM youth them will come sweat for Jamaica and play half for Jamaica. People like Maverick, people like Roy Simpson, people like the president. The other person under that Rudolph speed, you don't notice that people? It's a Rudolph change. Either Rudolph don't really beat the foreign player them before anyway. But it was part of the whole concept where it was quota. You know, when I hear Rudolph do that, how things have changed. Even the president, I gravitate to the narrative because them feel like it's comfortable and then tell people what they want to hear. And look at idiot man, them want to beat up the youth them who born overseas, who come play for Jamaica. Look at fool people them in the media, Jamaica, 24/7, I see them shit them do all the time. Every single interview in the pan is local and local born players. Name the local born players who are so great. Rudolph bring 4 of them. We don't want to beat the youth them. He bring 4 of them. You know, give none of them no intend them change. Where are these locally born players? Media in Jamaica, where are they that you're talking about? Where are the locally born players that's so great you're talking about? Show us to them. If they're good enough, they'll play. You guys are the most disingenuous people on the face of the earth. Seriously. The most disingenuous set of people. Like, it's ridiculous. It is nauseating. It is tiring. And you're ignorant. Ignorant.
Very, very, very disappointed. It's very painful. But we would have done everything in our powers. I mean, the breaks just didn't go our way. And if you look back at the games, the game in Trinidad, I mean, we conceded late, I think in the 86th or 87th minute. The goal that was scored against us was eventually I mean, when people looked at the video, they thought that it ought not to have been a goal. We scored a goal that a FIFA referee who reviewed it said to me that we were unfortunate that ought to have been a legitimate goal. I mean, the game at the National Stadium, I mean, when they hit the upright 3 times and can't get one in, when the on-the-field referee give you a penalty and it was overturned, then the breaks just didn't go our way. And I mean, it is like I've said, it's very painful. We would have done everything in our wisdom that we think ought to bring us to the World Cup.
That's the second time you said that in this whole conversation. We have done everything in our wisdom. Your wisdom is shallow, Mr. President. It's very shallow. You didn't come doing close to doing. First of all, your recruiting process was flawed. Your recruiting process in terms of players was flawed. Coaching was flawed. How we play football was flawed. You had a wrong coach for the job, and you get what you deserve. Wrong coach, no doubt. We had a conversation with Rudolph. I had this conversation with Rudolph 2 years ago about going for a coach from Spain. No. Remember when we went on the channel, we said Rudolph argue about this, and Rudolph challenged what Spain accomplished. When you forget the conversation there, then we go find somebody at Spain so we can learn how to play football. Him says Spain never accomplished nothing in football. They only make 1 World Cup in the last 4 or whatever, 2 or 3 cycle, whatever him talk about. Don't forget the conversation there. Don't forget them conversation there. No? You go hire McLaren. Nobody now hire English coach. I mean, I'm not against England. They banned there. But nobody now hire English coach people. Nobody now English coach. Well, sorry, Sweden hire them. You know, Sweden never win a World Cup group match and it's still that World Cup. But nobody now hire English coach. Nothing against English coach. People want innovative coach. They want people with some different way of operating, can think the football, can work with the young men. They don't want an old dated dinosaur coach. Can't get them gone away. What we end up with? Now I got no World Cup.
But that's true to have it didn't happen. So we just have to reorganize and come again.
A lot of confidence would have been lost in terms of Jamaica's belief in our football. How are you going to ensure that this confidence is rebuilt and we start another campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, we are highly rated around CONCACAF in every aspect of football. And it cannot be by a mistake that 3 persons from Jamaica were appointed to standing committees at the highest level at FIFA. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I ran for the first time as vice president of the CFU, of course, I won. The second time, I think there were 5 positions up. And I went in unopposed. And it's not because of...
I think that's it for this, people. Put this down. We ran through this already, so it'll repeat itself. Let me say this, people. A couple of things before I close on this program. This is not because I'm fighting against Rudolph Speed or Michael Ricketts. My concern about this whole thing is we need to have a very objective, transparent, independent process in trying to make informed decision about who run our football. Have the JFF had some success? Yeah, they've had some success. Is the success enough to substantially justify them being in the role that they have now? Doesn't appear that way to me. I showed you the board before as to what's green and what's red and what's yellow. I only see 2 green things there about the girls. The rest of the stuff is yellow or red. The men's is red. The men's component is red. Our FIFA ranking is down. Our Gold Cup participation is down. Our World Cup qualification is in the dumps. That's the main thing. Our under-20 team that we keep bragging about, they haven't done anything yet. Under-17 World Cup, good. Women make it to the World Cup again, great. By the way, the women team is mainly diaspora players. The same diaspora players who get killed for the men. We keep denigrating, belittling, disparaging, denying, discriminating against diaspora-born persons for the national men's team. And the main culprit for this is the Jamaica media. The Jamaica traditional media is the main culprit for discrimination against overseas-born players. Go listen to all of them. All of them in the Jamaica media. They're the main culprits for this discrimination. And they're supposed to be the guardian of fairness, objectivity, impartiality. They're supposed to be the guardian. They're the main culprits. They're sad. Their interviews lack substance, lack decisiveness, lack inquisitiveness. It lack. Just keep lacking. When they interview, they don't have follow-up questions that make sense. They don't dig deep. They're not as informed as they should be. They don't know the details to challenge certain assumptions and certain perspective, or certain things are supposed to be factual. They have no intrusiveness. Zero. They're a sad bunch. Sad. And then they want to have the audacity to want to beat YouTubers. All of them want to beat YouTubers. Whether they part of the JFF or not, they want to beat. All they talk about is them 3 or 4 people. Because we ain't kissing their ass. That's what it is. Let me be frank and crass. We're not. We're being objective. We're mad as hell and we're talking about it. Because we know what our potential is. We know what our ability is. We know what we could have done, what we could have been. And they denied us. They denied us. And then they want to accept it. And then they want to dismiss us. They say, we have been great. We've achieved a ton. You guys are the problem. And only a few overseas bloggers are the problem. Because the compromised media in Jamaica is not the problem. Only a few overseas bloggers. Wow. Yes, they're saying, Jose, that we must accept. Where is it? They're saying that we must accept and move on. And this is another one of them, actually. Under the guys. All these people can't come out from under their sheet. Come out of their basement. Reggae Boys Reactor. Nationalists. They can't come out of their basement if they're in a basement. They like to criticize from afar. They want to go at the bloggers. I'm going to put up his comment. They don't want to accept any responsibility or accountability because they are part of the same clique. It's a clique, people. It's a clique. And it's a clique that believe they're elitist. It's a clique that believe they know a lot. And they don't know shit. They don't know nothing. Their performance give you a perspective as to who they are and what they represent. They can talk all they want to talk. They can write all they want to write. But their performance and the outcome substantiate and show you who they are. They don't know what good looks like. And that's why these coaches that come to Jamaica struggle. Because they work with people who don't know what good looks like. Sometimes it's not even the coach. People like Hagrimson, they struggle. They struggle with professionalism and lack thereof. They struggle with interference. They struggle with the lack of support. They struggle with the engagement model. They struggle. That's why they want to run and go back home. And then they go look for another job quick, that's why they go back home. Can't deal with it. Even when Hagrimson had the best chance to get to a World Cup, he gave it up. Gave it up. And I don't mind that these people don't want to come on my channel. I text somebody that they come on my channel and he say, me get back to you. He probably got to talk to some people and say, well, no, sir, I got to talk. And it wasn't going to be an adversarial interview. But I can live with that. I can live with that. So go to the friendly channel them and get to see him monotonous, mundane, regurgitated questions. And you can get to see him. You can espouse the view about how great you guys are and what you've accomplished and how well you have done. And they'll buy it and we move on. And you can ask the same question, when we're going to go local? When we're going to go local? When we're going to go local? As if we have ever made it work up by just going local. Ever in the history of Jamaica football, which is over 100 years now. We have never made it work up by just going local. Ever. And we shouldn't get anybody in who may be not as competent as the players who are local. It make you want to cuss bad word. You know why that's a stupid comment? Because the people you're getting are all citizens. That means it's supposed to be a meritocracy. I asked this of Coley the other day now. When Coley was on the channel KLAS, I had called him to the program because he was seen to be suggesting that we have a bus our youth. That's what came across to me. And I go ask the question, which is, I don't understand. I thought all these people were citizens. And it's a meritocracy. What are we talking about? Balance. The balance should be what the coach need in the team in terms of who fit in what role and what position. That's the only balance you should have. If you're a citizen, why is it? Then change the citizenship laws then. So here's this comment, people. Hey, Reggae Boys Reactor. If I'm making things up, sue me. Let me repeat this, people. You guys like to sue. You guys like to send cease and desist letter. Please send me a cease and desist letter. Please sue me if I'm making things up and if I'm lying. Please sue me. You can shut somebody up by suing them. Reggae Boys Reactor, you and everybody else who say Cranky's lying and he's making things up, please sue me. I'm begging you. Please. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Cranky. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm okay.
What's up?
Nothing much. I see you're talking about as far as what's going on with the administration.
Yeah.
And Cranky, listen, I think it's a gap between eras, right? Which is your era and my era, right? It's a gap there. And the reason why I say that, if you look at the noise right now, the noise is my era that's making up most of the noise, right? When it comes to the information, it's not like before. Information is within a split second, and we're not taking any talk. And these guys are very disrespectful. This crowd that you see, right? They're just not willing to back down, and they're willing to disrespect anybody for it. And I don't blame them. Fire for fire. This is the only way you can get change in this administration. I said it before, and I continue to say it. You cannot elect hyenas to take care of goats. These people are all to themselves. This is why our football cannot get and go anywhere. No kind of, you know what, accountability. It doesn't exist in that administration. Everybody know everything, but they don't know shit. And I applaud you, Cranky, that, hey, you remind me of the Jamaican fans, but that's okay, Cranky, right? It's cool. At some point,
In what context? You say, I mean, because I don't think that's complimentary. In what context?
In a sense, where Cranky, what color shirt you have on?
It's gray. It's combination color.
Okay, what's the top color? Is that gray or black?
No, it's not black. It's like almost green. It's a dark green, sort of. Look more like black, but it's not really black. Comes across different on the screen.
All right, if I see the shirt look like it's green, I'm going to say it's green. I'm not going to say it's light green or greenish black or no, I'm going to say exactly what the shirt is. I think with us, we wait. We don't, when we see it, we want to see who's going to jump out and say it first and then wait to see the traction of it. This has been from political side all the way down to our sports program. If you see something, man, you got to say it. It doesn't matter who think this or who think that. The truth is the truth. That's our problem. Because of who's scared to say it because they don't want this. No, I ain't got time for that. Cranky, you're very intelligent. You didn't eat your school fee. My parents sent me to good school. I didn't eat my school fee.
I used mine to buy I saved up and buy pants. But anyway, it's a different story for a different day. I save it up and buy my pants and go to KC, and then I get cursed out of school.
Hey.
But I look good. I ran home to eat my lunch. I'd save up my lunch money and go to this tailor and make pants, so you go to school, you don't have to wear khaki on Friday. Probably wasn't a good idea then, actually, given my confrontation with teachers. It wasn't a good idea.
Well, we all had those hiccups, man. And one time I ended up spending, I will never forget this. I went to Southern Mayor Prep, right? I don't know why my mom thinks she could give me the money to go pay the school fee. Why did she?
That's not good.
Cranky, that money, I've never seen this much money a day in my life. You know what? For one whole month, I was touring the island. I toured as a kid, just touring the island, me and my friends.
Wow.
And my godmother saw me. They asked, "Hey, look at the time. Why you not in school?" Oh, we got out early. She went and told my mom. My mom was like, "Son, where have you been? How's school?" And I'm telling her. She already know the answer because she went to the school and my godmother told her.
Oh, are you still alive today?
That's what I'm about to tell you. My dad this happened on a Friday. She called my dad because he was in Georgia. My dad got here the Sunday to beat me.
Well, at least you had a mom and a dad, and your dad was interesting enough to beat you. It's a good thing.
Oh man, Cranky, that kind of that was brutal, but I deserved it, bro. I deserved it, and I thank him to this day, right? But Cranky, what I'm trying to say is, man, at some point we gotta fill the gap, and we gotta come together and stand as one. Because I don't care what people say, talking and this. Nobody wants bad press, right? Nobody wants the noise. And when you see millionaires coming out and speaking, they're there. They're on. And you look at the crowd, the noise is too much. Rudolph is not a unifier. He's a divider. And it shows in so many different of his actions. This league is too big for him. Cranky, let me ask you a question. Rudolph said he's very ambitious, right?
Yeah.
Why can't Rudolph go over to the MLS or to the Champions League and coach a team?
Well, it probably wouldn't work for Rudolph. Rudolph is not young anymore, you know. So this may be Rudolph's last coaching job. He's not young
Cranky,
anymore.
That's why I like you, Cranky. You're so smart, bro. Rudolph Speed is 64 years old. It's too late for him. Yeah. Right now, he's just, whatever Jamaica has to offer, he gonna take it. Is that what we want?
No, I think, look, it's a board decision, right? It's not Rudolph's decision, it's a board decision.
Cranky, I understand it's not Rudolph's decision, but the power is in the people.
Right, but I'm saying that's why we have to tell the board they need to do their jobs.
Yeah,
we have to ask them to ask them to do their jobs. Ask them to do their jobs.
100%. We got to make some people uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's it. Listen, if you don't like, and these people, for them, they're very bold-faced. They look in your eyes and lie to you, just like that. This is what they've been doing. For me, it's fire for fire. I got to make you uncomfortable. Anywhere I see you, I'm just going to disrespect you. Because you don't have no disrespect for me. You have no respect for me. That's not, what you're doing is not, this is not what the future generation wants to see. Look at the reggae girls, this is what they want to see. An example. This is what kids want to see. When I was a youth coming up, when I'm looking at, what's his name, Topper, and I'm looking at Claudia Messup, and I'm looking at Warren Barrett. These are the examples I like to see.
Wait, you say Claudia Messup?
I think that's his name. I can't remember.
You mean Claudia Messup, the gangster?
No, it's a football player. I can't remember. He used to play football.
No, Claudia Messup. Claudia Messup was a gangster. We're still known about today, actually. People still talk about Claudia Messup.
Don't get me wrong. He played for Boys Town.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is this: when it comes to examples, right? Back in my days, these are my superstars. You understand what I mean? I had examples. These were winners, right? It's no more example. The board is not setting an example. The players are not setting an example. It's just deflated. It's dead. It needs resuscitation. It needs new idea. It needs new blood. Innovation. It's not there. These guys have been sucking this football dry. It's dead now. The well is dead. It's dry.
Yeah, look, I think they need new blood. Yes, they do. I think what the JFF, when the JFF talk about success, I'm not sure they think about the totality of their portfolio, what the measurement is for success, and then how they're graded. They just think about the accomplishments as individuals, as one-offs, and not thinking about what's my holistic portfolio, What have I done across that portfolio? And can I really say I'm successful based on what that portfolio entails? I'm not sure they do that. I think they look at the under 17 making the World Cup. They look at under 20 in the final round of CONCACAF, which is no accomplishment, to be honest. They look at the two women team going to the World Cup, and they say we have been so successful. These are recent success, These are in the last. The women are different, but the under 17 just made the World Cup. They should have made it last year. The under 20 hasn't done anything. What are the other things they mentioned coaching and the money, which are fair, but in holistically, given all the things that we participate in, I can participate in, and I showed you the schedule, I am not sure they can call themselves to be successful. And then they said it's most successful in the history of Jamaica football, as if that's something to be benchmarked against.
But how are they the most successful?
Well, they haven't gone to the World Cup for men, so I'm not sure how you even get there. They're thinking about everything that they have done since their tenure and what that entails. And I'm not saying they haven't had some achievement, but it's not at the point in which you can claim all the success. It's just not.
Cranky, if I'm reading an article, and the article says that the Federation is going to scrap the females, the reggae girls, and Cedella Marley decided that she wanted to take it over, to revamp it, and put her own money in it, and also money from the foundation to get it going. Isn't that sort of like a partnership per se? But it's not even more so of a partnership if I'm spending more than you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the JFF's taking all the credit, but frankly, as we know, Cedella should get a lot of credit.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm just reading from the article that was out there. This is in the Gleaner.
Yeah.
You understand? I can't make this up. It's there.
But then they talk around as if they're the ones who orchestrated the whole thing and did the whole thing, and it was all about them. That's how it comes across.
Correct. And that's the issue with these guys, right? They don't have empathy as a leader, right? Cranky, I have my own business. I'm very stern, but I also have empathy, right? And I just don't take BS. I just don't. In order for my trucks to be at the optimum level, right? I gotta make sure that I can't cut corners. I gotta make sure that everything is done the right way, so I can remain with my scores being high, so I can negotiate whatever contract I need to negotiate, right? So it's zero tolerance for me, but I also have empathy. And our federation, they don't understand as a leader, you need empathy. These guys don't know what it means. They have no clue. Right? But my final takeout is this, right? Frankie, my question is, why do you think President Ricketts is so loyal to Rudolph Speed?
So here's what I've heard and learned, actually. It is my understanding that Rudolph does a lot of the work, whatever that work entails in the JFF. And I've heard it from multiple people, that he does a lot of the work in terms of he's not afraid to work. He's always out there working. So the president can rely upon him. And he may also exhibit the acumen that the president think he needs to get certain things done. And he may not be able to rely upon others the same way.
Okay, so do you think, but now that you just said that, so Rudolph Speed played a vital part for him to be president again, right?
Yes, very, very much so. He probably was the main person that orchestrated that presidency for the president. Yes,
correct. Yeah. And with this term of Mr. Ricketts being president, now he is able to get retirement from FIFA, right?
I'm not aware of that. I can't comment on it. I'm not aware of that.
I'm aware of it. This is it for him.
Okay.
All he needs to
do it's his last term.
Exactly.
Even though he didn't take over at the beginning of the term, but his last term based on the Constitution, unless they change the Constitution.
Yeah. So all he had to do was get elected again, and that's it. He's qualified to have retirement from FIFA. So with Rudolph being so instrumental with him being president, he has some kind of bond with him. You understand? Because he's the brain of that organization. You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
But my thing is this: is if he is the brain of the organization, right? And you notice that the it's limited. It's just for the inside, the ins and out, right? But it's limited to the rest of the world, right? At some point, as a leader, you have to make decisions, right? And right now, the president has been failing from beginning to end to now to present, right? Because of he's not effective in the decisions that he chooses to make. Because every decision that they choose to make is not getting us anywhere. We're back in the quagmire again from 4 years ago to 4 years ago. Nothing has changed. It's still the same thing. But anyway, Cranky,
Come on, thanks for the call.
I appreciate your show. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. Have a good night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to look up what people are talking about, which is qualification. It doesn't say anything about a 3-term give you the qualification for retirement. I don't see that. I don't see that. It talks about a 3-4 year term limit. I'm thinking about retirement qualification to qualify for any FIFA benefits. But anyway, I'm going to close down the program, people. First of all, I'm going to say this, which is I appreciate every one of you who have joined the program tonight. I'm trying to get to 16,000 subscribers. So if you do subscribe or share my channel and would have me and would allow me to be in your environment and to, I don't know why I'm doing that. Allow me to be in your environment. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. I hope you will subscribe to the channel. I hope you'll hit the like button before you leave. And I hope you'll share the channel. My last comment is to the board of directors for the JFF. You have been given a significant role as a member of the 11-person board. I should call it a 9-person board because the president and Rudolph are part of the board. So it's a 9-person board. Dennis Chung is no longer there. Each of you has a responsibility to the country of Jamaica to do your job to the best of your ability. As part of such role, it is very important for you to really put in the work to achieve the best outcome for the country as it relates to who runs the JFF and who is the coach for the football team. Don't take any shortcuts. Before you can make any decision about who's going to continue to run the JFF, who's going to be the coach, you have to do a postmortem as to why we fail to make the World Cup. It's very, very important. And you cannot shunk. You cannot draw away from that responsibility. It's not a good look. You have to do your job. You have to. The country is depending on you. The country needs you. And the country is relying upon you. Don't shirk that responsibility. We miss the World Cup. We are extremely unhappy about missing the World Cup. If you do a World Cup comparison between 98 and now, in 1998, for the men's, there were 32 teams. Total prize money, $76 million. The payout for the team like in Jamaica would have been about $1 million. About 1 billion viewers globally. For the women, you can see the women there. 24 teams in 2019, 32 is growing. They had 30 million payout. The Jamaica girls made 2019, 2023, they got payout. For the men's World Cup in 2026, 48 teams, most ever. Total prize money over about $750 million. Minimum for any team, like 40 teams that qualify, is 9 to 12 million, but Jamaica will get none. The viewership is expected to be, from a world of 8 billion, 5 billion viewership. And for Jamaica, we're going to play 0 match. This is what we're missing out on. So we don't qualify now. We're missing out, and it's part of that pot of 700 million. We're missing out on to get 9 to 12 million. Just on the start, imagine if we get to the second round, and some of the third place team will go through. We're missing out on Jamaica brand, even though we are a well-known brand from being viewed by the rest of the world. We'll play no match. We'll have no wins. And our ranking, it says 24-62. Today it's about 70. The impact is significant. If you compare to 98 and now, it's about 10 times the payout that we're missing out on. It's not okay. We've gone from making another history to missing the biggest opportunity in the history of Jamaica football. We cannot call this business as usual. We cannot say, oh, we just made a simple mistake and you got to move on. We cannot say it's okay because we have done all this achievement by the JFF and therefore you should just get over yourself and move on. I showed you the chart before. The achievements that we're talking about, I showed you. We've only had, in my view, 2 major success at Rated Women's Program. The rest of it is red or yellow. It's not okay. Don't buy this notion. Don't buy this view. It's not okay. It's not okay. So as a board member, your first obligation is when you're going to make a decision to be as informed as possible. Please make sure a postmortem is done as to why we failed to make the World Cup. Don't not pull things and say, oh, because of the coach, and we have 4 misses in Jamaica and we hit the post. Please have a very comprehensive postmortem done of what totally transpired. Leave no stone unturned. Go through every segment of the whole thing. The fan support, the media, the leadership, the players, the coaching, the selection process. Even your own process should be assessed. If you need to get a consultant, get one to help do the assessment, including your own organization. Are you being effective in your role? Are you a true nationalist and understand whether or not you're capable to be on that board and to execute your responsibilities? You need, good night, princess. Good night, princess. You need to ensure that you are doing your due diligence, and that when you make a decision about who's going to coach a national team and who's going to lead the JFF, that you make it from a position where you have garnered all the information that you have at your disposal to make an informed decision. We are depending on you. We are relying on you. The football persons and aficionados, the ones that support the Jamaica football program, we need you to do the right thing. Don't let nobody pressure you about who should be the coach. Don't let nobody recommend to you who should be the coach. Do an extensive search process. I have no problem if the person is a Jamaican national, but it shouldn't be just somebody who's born in Jamaica. If you want somebody with Jamaica national, Jamaica citizenship, then go out and source one. I'm sure there's one out there for you. Don't let the local media and the people who are complicit and or the people who are compromised to help orchestrate who should be the next coach. Do your job. We're depending on you. You're the board. You've been given that oversight. You've been given that responsibility. You own the whole process. It is your decision that informs what should be done and how it should be done. We're depending on you. I'm depending on you. Have a good evening, everyone. Peace out. Please hit the like button before you leave. Please subscribe and please share. I appreciate you. Good night.